It says KBPS going out. You know what that means?
Oh, we
That
have
we are
5,094 kilobytes
per second.
yes,
That means we're streaming.
per person.
Okay, Kim, your show.
It's not my show.
Okay, it's your show in the beginning. Oh, look at the hair.
Thank you.
Wow, I looked up and this hair went woof.
Foosh. Oh, hear that wind? Does anybody else hear that wind?
Before we get started, I was a doctor today, and it's really windy here. And just as they finished with me, all the lights went out. And I said to the doctor, "Why'd you turn the lights off?" He goes, "I didn't turn it off. They just went out." Well, driving back, all the traffic signals weren't working and everything. So here we are. The wind's blowing. I heard stuff blowing out in the yard. If we shut off in a hurry, it's probably because the power went off. But maybe it won't. Okay.
So it is once again. I can hardly believe it's already Tuesday night again, but it is. I hope you had a good week. We have been. What did we do? I can't believe it's been a week already.
I've been to the doctor twice. We did a live show at the shop.
You know how we were talking about missing a doctor's appointment?
We did a lot of stuff.
You know what that phone call was when you were walking out the door to your doctor's appointment today?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I said something stupid right when I didn't realize.
Matter. You know what that was?
I didn't realize you were already.
That was a doctor asking why I didn't make my appointment today. And I was like,
"You gotta be kidding me."
I'm not. And we talked about it like 2 days ago and I forgot. Anyways, okay, so, hi everyone, I'm Kim of Kim Fixes Things. You can find my channel also on YouTube, but instead of at Buff Del Campo, I'm Kim Fixes Things. So you can find me there, and I do some different things when I'm working on projects that are exclusively mine, or are mostly centered on me. I do that stuff on my channel. But tonight you are on the Buff Del Campo channel, where we stream from weekly. On Tuesdays we are in our magical green screen studio, where we can go to far off places and different times. Our dino room, for example.
Dino room.
Right? Yeah. We can travel throughout time and space to look at cars and flora and fauna if necessary. We can scour the internet. We basically have the entire world at our fingertips for your viewing pleasure, which is a nice thing to do, and that's why Tuesdays are so special. Okay, wait, I'm going back to me and you. Okay, if I can only find the buttons, we can do that. We also can show your pictures and things that you think are neat if you want to send them via snail mail style email.
Snail mail? Don't send stuff snail mail.
You want to send it the old-fashioned way.
Be here next month.
Email. You can send it to buffdelcampo@gmail.com. Obviously, the name of the channel @gmail.com. And we seem to mostly be getting them. There was some question earlier that somebody was bouncing them.
Okay, Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Says his aren't going through. But I've had emails with Lester the Saber, and Buddy Carfano all afternoon. So something else is wrong. Maybe you can type it in there, and then.
Oh well, I did earlier. I'll do it again. Since the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, and
we will get on to some of the other business here in just 1 second.
But Kevin Smith, I haven't seen him back in here, so I don't know. Maybe he'll.
He may have gotten frustrated and given up.
He said he'd be here, but. I don't know what's wrong.
Yeah, you could send your pictures, and we will try and look at them during the stream.
And that's a link, so if you got a mistake in there, that should fix that.
Oh, Gearhead says he has flurries.
Oh, well, and look
Ray from 38 Racing says a blizzard. Oh, my goodness. So we just have wind.
That's why I looked at this. It's all part of the same system, and they're just up in the cold country, and we're not.
Well, yeah, we're a lot further south. Boy, there's been people in the stream since 2 o'clock this afternoon. Mexican Spec, our moderator, did stop in to say that he will not be here tonight.
That is hard to read.
That's invisible. All the green on your screen is showing through.
Oh, that's why. Anyway,
yeah, it's completely
there's a big old blizzard like in eastern Nebraska, and then it swirls around and it's all... See, that cold's going to come this way. Right now, we just got a big old windy rainstorm. Okay, I'm sorry. Interrupted with the weather report.
So, Buddy Carfano is on the ball tonight. He was the first person who was here early, who was also here at exactly 7 p.m. He's getting 3 points for that. Lester LeSabre was first at 7, so he also gets 3 points. And Dougster gave us checkered flags and potatoes at 7 o'clock, so I'm giving him 2 points.
You know who was actually first? Mexican Spec.
Yeah, but it doesn't count.
Okay,
he has
yeah,
to be here at the beginning of the
see,
stream.
I see. He just
He
reporting
has
in.
plenty of points anyway.
He's just reporting in that he's busy. He's driving all night or something. Yeah.
Gearhead and 38 Racing also get 2 points for being here like right away. Raw Dog 420. I'm in Wisconsin. It's raining. Then tomorrow we are supposed to get 8 inches of snow. Oh, winter is not over in Wisconsin. Turbo Tom is here. Welcome to the stream, Tom. If you are new here or watching later, you're not familiar with the point system, I award points to people who do things. One of the things we've established is I generally give out points to the people who are here commenting first. That's fun. We do get that out of the way right away. But I also give points, like if he goes, and he can't think of the name of somebody. Or
people get the most points when my brain goes dead and I can't remember what I'm saying.
If you can pull it out before he can.
Somebody in the chat knows what I'm thinking.
That shows me that you're on the ball, paying attention, and I like to award points to that. Now, I don't keep track of the points. It's an on-your system. I don't got a spreadsheet or nothing like that. You know, I award the points, you keep track. It works fine that way. And then we will use those points at some point in the future to do something. Once we have something of value to distribute, we will absolutely do that. Right now, I think we have a Chrome 4-slice toaster that is in the catalog, and a Subaru, a 1999 Subaru with a bad motor.
Dougster says, dang, AMS oil ad already. See, I don't understand this because they're supposed to be about every half hour. I don't know why they're coming in so early.
We're at 7 minutes in and we're getting advertisements.
I don't understand that.
I'm sorry, everyone. When we monetize the stream, it opens our community up to a wider audience because being able to monetize our stream convinces YouTube that they want to show more people. So we don't want to turn it off. And try as we might to adjust so you don't get bombarded with ads, it seems like people still do. And we're trying. We don't know how to fix that yet. But as a consolation, if you pay attention to who the ad is from, when you're done clicking finish, you tell us what advertiser was there. We will award you points as well for doing that, for enduring that.
So does Dougster get points?
Dougster does get 2 points for having an AMSOIL ad.
Not AMSOIL.
Not AMSOIL?
What's AMS oil? Is that AMSOIL? I mean, that sounds like AMSOIL, but I don't know. That's not what he wrote.
Well, I don't know then. If it is AMSOIL, he loves AMSOIL. So
AMSOIL is great stuff.
If it's not, well...
You know, there's a hand right in the middle of this. I'm trying to move it with my mouse and it doesn't. There, okay. Thank you. She had her mouse hand right over top of the chat.
So if you get an advertisement, let us know about it. If you are watching on a device that does not allow you to participate in chat, but you're here anyways, just to enjoy the community, I am awarding you a point because it's a little harder to get points that way, and at least you get something for showing up, and we appreciate you. Not everybody has all these fancy keyboards and devices like we do. Our studio is pretty stupid, but yet impressive.
Quite a while ago, before we were doing this, Kim was trying to get me to do live shows in a green screen, and I'm like,
I wanted to do one of those bits where we go on Facebook Marketplace, and we put the cars up there, and we laugh at them, or comment, or talk about them.
So she set it up, and we got all these monitors, and
he didn't want to do it.
Big screen with
he was like, no,
chat, and it's turned out, the first time we did it, I go,
once we live streamed and started doing this thing.
It was like, I get it. Yeah, I want to do this all the time.
Yeah, now I'm roped into having to do this every week. I love it, but it is a labor of love. Robot puppies ads for me. They sure look like real dogs. The robot rabbits, not so much. Gearhead, that's disturbing. Everybody go buy one.
But he gets 2 points, right?
you do get 2 points for having to watch the disturbing robot puppy.
For some
And,
reason.
I mean, the nice thing about a robot puppy is you can flip the switch, turn it off, and it doesn't starve to death. Like when you go on vacation or whatever. So, I mean, I guess there's a call for that, you know? And even uh, animals that are not real animals, but, you know, fake animals can be comforting and calming for people. So I guess if that's the way, yeah, okay.
Turbo Tom said you ordered a Shadow January 2nd. It showed up February 13th, 1987. That was my birthday.
That's not a Shadow. That's what is that car? Is it a Corsica or something?
Where?
The red one on the screen right
Oh,
behind
no.
it.
Well, I was reading what Turbo Tom wrote, not what I put. I put a 1987 Buick LeSabre. I had one, and I just picked out some 1987 car. That popped up on Google, and I went, oh, that looks like mine. I had one exactly like that, same color and everything, and I really liked it because it was one of the last big full-size two-door cars.
I think I had
I
a
kinda liked
newer
it.
LeSabre, and
They were four doors after that,
I
after
bought
89.
it from a friend's daughter, and she was driving it, and the entire engine cradle fell out from under the car. The you know, they have these big rubber isolators, and the washers go through. The washers had all rusted, and they busted, and the whole engine and cradle fell out of the car. It was hanging from the drive shafts. You know what I mean? So it's scraping on the ground.
What holds the engine in? Oh, the axles.
Well, the cradle does. You know what I mean? The
But on that
mounts,
car, the
motor mounts are
on that car, the axles held it.
well, yeah, and so she would have probably kept driving it, right? But the steering column, since it goes down into that cradle too, it ripped the steering column out. You know, the guts out of the steering column.
And it didn't.
So I got the car for like $500 and put some new washers, jacked it all back up in. Had to take the steering column the whole way out, reassemble all the bits and bobs. I think I got everything but the horn working. KJ Kiley is here. Welcome to the stream. John Bossoms is here. Also, welcome. I'm almost finished my story.
Okay.
So I got it all back together, and then I started the engine. It was going knock, 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 knock. And I was like, oh my God. Like, how can you fake someone out with the engine falling out of the car? You know, like people do things to trick you, like into thinking like it just needs this and that. And I was like, I can't believe it. Well, it turned out that the dampener on the motor, the rubber was completely out of it, and it was banging back and forth, making like this ding, 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 ding. So I replaced the dampener, and it ran, and then I sold the car for like $900 because I didn't really need it. But when it was all said and done, I should have just not even done it because
John Bossoms has it right. The last comment.
sounds like PA. It's tough on cars. Oh gosh,
It was PA.
Yeah.
And it was tough.
You know what
cars.
though? The rest of the car was pretty good. It didn't have like a lot of holes in it or anything like that. So it was weird that those cradle washers rotted through like that. They're like the equivalent of like cab mount bolts. I don't know, but I put it back together and sold it to some nice lady who she seemed like she really needed a car. And
Hey, he's just popping in. We just got the Mazatlan. With Lester LeSabre's car. He is running really well.
yay!
Well, good. I was gonna.
Everybody wish Mick Spec luck. He's coming from Mexico City to the southern border of the United States to deliver a car for our friend Lester LeSabre.
I thought it was Mexico City, but then he said
No?
Durango, and I thought he said it was.
Durango.
I thought he said it was at Durango. And I'm like, oh man, no, it's not a Durango. He was in Durango, but I don't know exactly where Durango is. It could be right by Mexico City for all I know. I'll have to look on a map, and I didn't have time to do that. Oh, or everything just flickered.
We still are getting connections, so
We still got a
it
connection.
held on.
See, we got really high winds here, and I have some concern that
We could cut
we
out.
might lose power.
If we do, when the power comes on, we'll try and start to stream again, but no promises. You know, it happens the way it happens.
Yeah, Raw Dog's right too. Wisconsin's hard on cars with the potholes, road salt. Yeah, when I've been in Wisconsin quite a few times. I don't think I'd buy a car from Wisconsin.
That's right. He did. He told me it was a Durango, and then he corrected himself and
So
told me
wait, no,
it was in Durango.
he bought the car in Durango.
I
I don't know
understand.
exactly where Durango is. I'll have to
Well, let
look
me
it on a
plug
map.
Mexican Spec for a second.
Yeah,
Since
yeah,
he's
okay,
here.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Mexican Spec. Many of you will see Mexican Spec moderating in several channels. Uncle Tony, does he moderate?
I don't know.
Several other car channels. And he's been around a long time. And if you didn't know, the thing he does is he likes to find classic cars in Mexico and export them to people who can't get them other places, such as in the northern United States, like Wisconsin, where they all rust away. You can buy cars that are 30, 40, 50 years old from Mexico that have been lovingly restored.
Or
And
they've just been in a dry
yeah,
environment.
they're just not rotten.
And there's no rust.
And so it's a unique opportunity to get something classic, and some of the Mexican spec cars are unique. And so if you currently he's getting one for one of our viewers, Lester Saber, but if you're looking for something specific, he will go and find it for you, or you can find him on Instagram, and he lists all kinds of neat cars that he sees that he would be willing to go through the process to send to the United States or beyond. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about it right now. Mexican Spec at Mexican Spec on Instagram, and maybe later in the stream we'll look at some of the other cars that he's listed recently. But we thank him for his service as moderator most nights. But tonight, obviously, he's on the road. He's probably a little busy. So get some rest, Mexican Spec, and
Which state would you say has the worst potholes? The worst state for potholes that I ever lived in was in Pennsylvania. It was Sharon, Pennsylvania. And the people in Sharon, Pennsylvania said it was the pothole capital of the world.
you know why we get so much potholes in
Oh,
Pennsylvania?
because it's wet and then it freezes and then up comes the pavement.
If you look up the statistics for freeze and thaw cycles, and you add in the amount of precipitation, Pittsburgh is terrible. Everything gets wet, gets soaked up with water, and then it freezes. So the freezing stresses everything, pushes it out, and then it melts. So everything settles back down, and then it gets wet more and freezes again, and that happens 70, 80, 100 times some years. It destroys road, and I mean, as if road salt wasn't bad enough. The freezing and thawing cycles, they destroy concrete, they destroy metal bridges, it destroys, man, it's rough. It is rough.
They brag about it.
The cost to maintain infrastructure in a place like Pittsburgh is just astronomical.
Okay, we got a lot of people in here, and it's early. I wanted
Welcome, everyone.
I wanted to bring something up.
Oh, yes, we did have there was
Okay.
a noteworthy passing.
Yeah, I don't know if you all know who Gene Winfield is.
I think
He's
most people do.
He's a old-time customizer. Had a great influence on me because I was a little kid, and he was probably in his 30s then. And he was customizing cars. And there were others like George Barris and others, but they've long since passed. Well, Gene Winfield passed away this morning, and it's kind of a sad day. He was 97 years old. And he was still working on cars. I think in the last couple of years he was still working on cars. And still going to car shows and still signing autographs and stuff. But I knew he was in the hospital, and he died this morning. So we all need to remember Gene Winfield. I think we will.
I think we'll talk about him some. If you guys have a favorite picture of one of his cars or of Gene, and you want to send that in to the email address, we will absolutely, add it into tonight's agenda. Yeah, we're going to find some along the way. But if you have something specific that you want to see or talk about on the stream in tribute to Gene, I think that we won't be the only people who are doing that over the coming days and weeks. I think some of the people who are closer to him will be doing tribute videos and that type of thing because he had such a major influence on automotive culture.
And those of us that are my age or a little older than me, really did. Mexican Spec asked, Buff, you're going to show the pictures that Lester sent you. I was going to ask Lester if it was okay if I did that. Also, Lester LeSabre has to change his name away from LeSabre, like to Lester Fairmont.
Lester Fairmont.
I can show him. I was kind of hoping he'd be here.
Well, it'll be on the list when we see him here. We'll get it in there.
Well, I'll put him in. I mean,
Rob's
this is
Rods and Streetcars is here. Welcome to the stream.
this
I
is
don't want to
what.
forget anybody.
Can you make us a little smaller?
No,
No.
no,
This
we're
is
big.
well, this is what Mexican Spec is driving. This car.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I was merely teasing. Look how little we are.
This is the car from Mexico. Yeah, it's a Ford Fairmont, a Mexican Spec Ford Fairmont, which means it has a Mercury grille on it and has little Mercury vents on the side. But it's a Fairmont. It's pretty cool.
That looks a lot like your car. You know, one of the things that I see right away that's different,
What?
glaringly different right away.
What?
Front of the car.
What, where it says Ford? Or
No,
the bumperettes?
It's got the bumperettes. Your car doesn't have them. Which is weird. I thought they started putting bumperettes on everything after like 73.
I don't know. Well, this is, what year is this one, Mexican Spec? I don't remember what year this one is. This is an early one, I think. And there it is from the back. And it's got the normal taillights. Mine is the Zephyr Z7. So it's got that whole slope rear end thing. And so that's the...
That is a really nice looking car.
Well, what's really good is...
Oh, the interior's great.
It's got the good steering wheel.
Yeah. It's got
and I could see it's an automatic. He told me it was a 302. Okay, it's Lester Sabre is here. Well, we're showing you pictures.
It's an 81.
So it's an 81, and it's an automatic 302. Yeah, that's the pictures he sent. I'm going to go back to the one on the... He also sent one of the odometer, and I think... I don't have it in front of me. Where'd it go? Let's see here.
Ray from 38 Racing says, I had the opportunity to meet Gene at the Lead Sled Spectacular in Salina. Is that Salina or Salina? Salina, some years ago. That must have been very, like, super cool, you know, to meet somebody who's such a legend.
I'm
And Mexican Spec says he's sorry that he couldn't go live today, but there was no internet service in the mountains. That's understandable. It's really hard to live stream from in a moving vehicle because you go in and out of service, and even with 5G, it's mediocre. I mean, you could try, but I don't think anybody expects that to really go over real well.
Now, here's something really cool. It's a kilometer speedometer. So that's 67,000. It's not miles, it's kilometers, which is what, about 40-something thousand miles? Is that all that car has on it?
It could be 140, and that car could still be in really nice shape.
Well, it'd be 167,000, but it might be 67,000 kilometers, which would be very few. And and I noticed it had air conditioning. Oh, it has power windows. Mine doesn't have power windows. Power seat, rear defogger.
We fixed the windows in your car now, though. They work
vents.
really good.
I want one of these speedometers for mine, but Mexican Spec's pretty busy, and I know it's not.
I'm sure they're not just lying around. Though.
I know it's not right on his priority list, and it's kind of a bear to get out of there. You got to pull the panel and then reach back in there where there's no room to undo the speedometer cable. They are a pain to get out, but you know, I mean, I can change that anytime. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then if I geared it, well, still it'd go to 110 miles an hour, which would be a whole lot better than 80. That's original mileage.
Wow. Must have been some old lady who only drove it to church on Sundays.
67,000 kilometers. Man, Lester Sabre, you got a young car. An old car that has young mileage.
I had a 68 Dodge Dart with only 29,000 miles at one point. I'm sure it has more than that now, but when I got it, it only had 29,000 miles on it. I revived it. That was really cool because the car was, everything was so new still. Like, it was very old vehicle, and you could tell that. Like, the paint was old and stuff like that, but all the mechanicals were just nowhere. It was new. You could tell. Very cool.
So then, I want to go back on the chat here because we're going on and on.
Oh, there's the thing that you need, right?
Okay, well, I got a story to tell about that too.
Right there.
but the chat's just flying by and I'm missing a whole lot of
They'll
stuff.
repeat themselves.
Okay, you said you didn't have time to go to junkyards. That's all right. That's all right. Man, I'm sorry. I'm really missing.
Beck got stuff to do. He
Really,
ain't got time to be looking for it.
I'm really missing the chat here because there's quickly Raw Dog has been talking a lot about friends that have Chrysler products, and I missed it all. I'm trying to catch it back up again, and I'm not doing well because I've just lost it. It's way back there. I'm sorry.
Right there.
Where?
Where your pointer is.
Raw Dog. My grandpa has all the original from the factory, a rare green Dodge Super B. Okay, and he said some other stuff about the car, but I missed it. I'm sorry I missed it.
You're welcome to repeat yourself.
I'm sorry I missed it.
We don't have to scroll back 20 minutes.
Because it's really rolling here. I just hate to miss people.
Yes, it's not intentional if we miss your comment. We will try and circle back around.
And Ozan Ukraine, good to see you here.
Welcome to the stream, Ozan. Indecisive Garage is here as well. Welcome to the stream.
My Zephyr.
Try to make up your mind, Indecisive.
John Bossoms wants to know if mine has tilt wheel or cruise control. It has neither. I wish it had cruise control, but yeah. Yeah, and I've looked at new cruise controls, and they're like $500, and they're
it's just not that important if we're not going on long trips.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I like doing.
But you used to do that all the time, but now you hardly ever do.
Well, Indecisive Garage says the odometer is miles. Why would the odometer be miles when everything else on that speedometer is in kilometers? Raw Dog says
that wouldn't make sense.
Mint condition, never seen more than 50,000 miles. My grandpa's old, all original Dodge Super B. I could get a fortune for it.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have it anymore.
And you wouldn't have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the original owner had it 4 years, the next 24 years, and then this owner, 38 Racing. I've only had one car with less than 100K on it. It was a 2002 Mini Cooper. And Mexican Spec, I think he meant to say goodnight all.
The lowest mileage car that we own on the lot, do you know what it is?
I don't know.
It's the Lost Fire. It's burnt to a crisp.
The burnt up Crossfire. We didn't burn it up. We bought it burned up.
We bought it burned up.
She bought it burned up. She bought a burned up car.
Yeah.
Okay. And
just the wheels on that car are worth what I paid for it.
Mexican Spec says Indecisive. No, it's not. It's all kilometers here. So it is. That is 67,000 kilometers on that car.
That's very.
Because it's a Mexican Spec car. It's not a U.S. Spec car.
Mexican Spec, go eat.
Yeah. Okay, so
we put in your plug. We'll even circle around and talk about your Instagram maybe later on.
Just be careful out there. How far do you have to drive to get home? How many more hours to get home? Or you stop for the night? Maybe you stop for the night.
Well, he did get a bus home. Is that what he usually does?
He got a bus to go get the car. He's driving the car back.
Yeah, but once he drops the car off...
But then he's got to get a bus back to his house.
Did he say he was with his wife?
I think he is.
Okay, well that's not...
I'm not going to say his wife's name because it was in an email to me, but...
I thought he said it earlier.
Oh, he could have.
I'm sorry, we don't know what we're doing.
But I'm not going to just go spout off his wife's name.
You know what we haven't done? We've been talking all this time. We talked the first 30 minutes. You know what we haven't talked about? Tonight, we're going to be, as always, picking a year that we are focusing on. And obviously, there's other things going on in the world, and we always want to see your projects. So if you have a picture of your project or some progress that you made on something that you're proud of and you want to show off, that's always welcome. But otherwise, we're asking anybody who has access to the internet and email to send us pictures of your favorite car, truck, van, automotive adjacent thing from the year 1987. We're going to get in the Wayback Machine to 1987. It's funny, he and I were talking about it. 1987 doesn't seem all that long ago.
1987 seems like a new car to me.
Like
she points out that it's almost 4 years old.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, most weeks we've been talking about cars from the 60s or the 50s or the 70s. But
the years we have done are like 71. That seemed newer to me. 63, 78, 61, 68. 64, now 87. That's like new, you
The
know.
mid-late 1980s is not that long ago. It doesn't feel that long ago. You know, I was like in high school. So, but I have owned quite a few cars from that period, 85, 86, 87, 88, kind of vintage. And I currently own the Bronco 2, which would fall right in. Mine isn't an 87, but an 87 looks identical. So that was the Bronco 2. We have the Z car.
Ads coming in already.
Tell us about your ad. Okay. We have the Z car. The 300ZX is it an 87 or is it an 86? Well, it's very close. I think a year later they changed the nose of it, so someone will know. And I didn't go take pictures because I'm lazy. And then the
Osan is, I think, saying a Pepsi. This is what I'm drinking, which is just $1 for a whole 2 liters. It's a store brand, like Dr. Pepper, but they call it Dr. Perky. That's what I'm drinking. I do like Pepsi, and I do like Coke, but they're both. I can get this cheap, so I bought the cheap stuff.
and there was one more. Oh, the Dakota that I recently got started and running again. I don't think I did a video on the Dakota, did I? No. I got the Dakota that we fixed the engine on. I got it running. I got the fuel system set up and drove it around the yard a little bit just for fun. And it's not smoking as much before. I think it maybe just had moisture in the system. So, or maybe it was, what color would the smoke be if it was getting too much fuel?
Black.
Black. Okay, no, it was making white smoke.
Yeah,
before.
it's like white blue smoke. It's from oil.
Well, it probably needs an oil change because there was a lot of gas.
Yeah, and the rings might be stuck. Who knows?
But it's not as bad now, so I think maybe they freed up from running it a little bit. Too many iguana out at night, says KJ Kylie. I have no idea what that means.
Wow, Raw Dog says, it's fun hearing my grandpa talk about how you could tell the cops you're going to have a drag race on the road and they would let you do it and you wouldn't get pulled over or nothing. It was perfectly legal. You know, where I lived in California, if you told the cops that, they go, yeah, go ahead and do it. And then they swoop in on you and take you to jail. There was no free.
Well, they just wanted you to do it someplace
free drag racing
where it wasn't going to cause a hazardous condition for other drivers. You go off on some road out in the sticks somewhere. You set up some cones. You have people guarding one side or the other. You do it someplace where you can say, hey, you know, half a mile back that way, you can go this way and you can just go around. We're doing drag races here.
Well,
But nobody will let you do that anymore. Nobody. You know.
Okay, let's see here. Hippie Wong, Buck, did you see the interview with the pilot stalled into the... Yes, I did. I watched that one, Blanco Lirio. Oh, he says later, Blanco Lirio. Yeah, I watched that on Blanco Lirio's channel. Yeah, I don't really want to comment too much on it. He's lucky. He came out the bottom of the clouds and was able to crash in a way that didn't kill everybody.
Airplane stuff. Because Buff Del Campo spent many years in aviation, designing and building and test flight for aircraft, if you were unaware. So that is why occasionally, frequently actually, most nights, we get some comments or questions about the news of the day in aviation. And that's welcome here, although it's not our focus.
If Blanco Lirio puts out a video, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
so,
always. Yeah. Always. And he has an opinion.
Blanco Lirio is pretty sharp. His name is Juan Brown, and he's a sharp guy. Flown about everything there is to fly, and then he's still an airline. He's still an airline pilot, flies 777. 38 Racing. I need you to catch that.
Yeah. He saw advertisements for Robinhood Gold, which I think is for trading. I think you can trade crypto on Robinhood Gold. You know, careful with those crypto coins. They're just for fun. They're not necessarily a stable investment. And Husky floor mats. And I was talking last time somebody got an ad for Husky floor mats. I mentioned that the Subaru had Husky floor mats in it. And they're nice, like super heavy, thick mats, really nice. If I had a car that I wanted to get some floor mats for, I think I would check to see if Husky has them. And that's like a celebrity endorsement, unpaid celebrity endorsement, just based on my experience. They were really nice. So, anyways, thanks 38 Racing. Anyone who got an advertisement, please call it out. I'll award you 2 points for doing that, because we don't really want you to have to watch advertisements, but I think I've explained before why we kind of it's tough to turn them off.
Yeah, YouTube wants to make their money. They don't make any money when you shut the ads off, and then they don't promote your channel.
Yeah, and then they don't care if you grow.
They don't care anything about you if you don't want to run ads.
Haki97 says, "Hey, I swapped out the 750 double pumper for the 600 Street Warrior. I have no more hesitation." Okay, so it was overcarbureted. Yeah.
Or there was something wrong with it.
Or there was something wrong with the 750. It might have had a bad, like only been running on 3 out of 4 barrels or something crazy like that. Or maybe the accelerator pump shot. But hey, if a swap is available and that fixes it, it's always great to know that the engine is actually running good and it was just a carburation problem. Congratulations. That's great. Oh, and Haki sent us some pictures of his car last week, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's his first project. Is his what did he say his car was?
Was it a 73 Charger? I forget which year.
And
I could go back and look.
Nice project. Fun. Jacked way up in the back. Maybe a little too much, but
it's one of the last Dodge Chargers that weren't foreign cars. It was early 70s Charger, that body style.
Very fun. Lots of stickers too. The stickers add horsepower. It's proven.
I actually put stickers on our Jeep. I've never put stickers on a car before, and I put some stickers on that. But they're YouTubers stickers, like Uncle Tony's Garage. Yeah. Anyway.
Olive says, most of today's ads were trying to sell me bras for people with rather more up front than I ever had. Yeah, and you know what? Now it's getting to be where the
Bazooms.
It's not even real. It's AI video enhancements. Everybody's got like pajangas and wabangas out the back. It's insane. It's crazy. And if you accidentally click on one or just hover on one for too while so it sees that it's like playing, then they start showing you all of this I want to say clickbait, but it's even worse than clickbait. There's a word for it, and it's not coming.
Crashes Roadrunner Garage got a Venmo ad.
Thirst traps. Venmo. Venmo's a good way to send money. Is it still safe to use Venmo?
Probably.
Do you use Venmo?
I
think it's a pretty good way to receive money.
I was using it for when I was not here and I had somebody doing my yard. I think that's how I was paying him. Let's see here. And Dean Stevenson showed up. I was going to say hi to him, but we were talking. And
I'm not saying hi to Dean. Dean.
Why not?
Not hi. No. Hello, Dean. Welcome to the stream. We love to have you.
Oh, bloody, oh, blah.
What's
Dean?
Oh, bloody. Oh, blood.
Yeah, but I said it differently than he did. Okay. So then,
can we change the picture? We've been looking at the interior of Lester LeSaber's car.
Okay, I'm trying to catch up with chat. Now,
too bad.
Okay, maybe you can catch up with Hockey and his grill and all the other stuff while I change pictures.
Oh, Haki says he's got a 73 Charger, but he likes the 72 grill and wants to know if it will fit. And I do not know the interchange on the front end of early 70s Charger. So if anybody knows definitively, yes it will, or no it won't, or if there are some special massaging that they're aware of that needs done, let us know so Haki can be prepared and see if that's something he wants to do.
Barrows is here.
Welcome
hey, Barrows sent me an email today too. And it looks like I put up that video about that piece I needed, and it looks like I've found numerous of them now, so I probably won't bother your brother.
It got broke.
But actually broke it.
I might have.
It's a It's a thing, it's a little plastic nut that holds or it's a bolt, actually. It's a plastic bolt. And it's hollow because it's to hold the headlight switch in, but then the shaft for the headlight switch that you pull in and out goes through the middle of this thing. So it's plastic, a plastic hollow bolt. Well, you know how long that's going to last.
You know
So
what?
it cracked and it
If
broke right off.
if I would have thought that it was going to be flimsy like that, I would have taken the switch out of the back of the dash before we pulled the dash. But I just thought we were going to pull it out on the wires and work, which is what we did. But I guess from it hanging on the wires, I think it snapped the weight of
Oh,
all
I
those wires
see.
and the switch
Oh,
snapped that bolt.
and I see why that would have happened.
So when I was putting the dash back together, I realized that switch was like flopping. So I got it out of it. I got the whole switch assembly out, and we looked at it, and we'll get it.
I know you're really going. Can you zoom that a little bit? Because
No.
I can't zoom that picture. Buddy Carfano sent this in.
Oh, I do have the zoominess.
It's one of the 87s. So we're picking them up from.
I had an 85 Monte Carlo. It was
That's not a Monte Carlo.
Well, I had an 85 Monte Carlo. Is that an Oldsmobile?
That's a Buick.
Buick!
It's a Buick GNX.
I see. I understand.
But it's the same body as a Monte Carlo.
This chair is very firm. I'm going to see if I can find some.
You need a pad for it.
Yeah.
Well, there's the big old black pad there.
That's blocking the air from coming out.
Oh,
of the
okay.
door.
That's.
And it's been on the ground for a year. I'm going to go get a pillow for my tushy.
She's gonna get a.
I think they figured out I'm an old lady and assumed, well.
Yeah, G body. I can never remember the GM bodies. The ones I remember from GM are the A bodies, the front driver A bodies from the 80s and early 90s because I had so many of them. You know, like the Celebrities and the Pontiac 6000s and Buick Centuries. I think I had a fleet of Buick Centuries, all to keep the other ones running. And then, what's the other? The F body, I guess, which is the Camaro Firebird. That's the F body, isn't it? The rest of them, I'm kind of lost. What did you get? Did you get something that helps?
I got a pillow.
Got a pillow.
We sit on these metal chairs.
Well, if any of you are on the live up in the shop a few days ago, that's the chair I fixed with the rivet gun.
Pop rivets.
And missed a rivet, and everybody gave me a bunch of crap because I missed a rivet. Had to go do it over again. You know how that is.
We have a very odd, eclectic collection of chairs in this house. We have folding chairs, metal folding chairs. I think there's like a church pew behind the TV, holding the TV up.
What?
It's not a church pew, but it's like a bench. It looks a lot like a church pew in its configuration of square and wood. And then what else do we have? Oh, we have one great big easy chair in the laundry room that you could, at one time, you could sit in there and just kind of chill. But I think right now it's probably got laundry on it.
See, there's one you like.
Who else has a chair that exclusive job is to hold the laundry, cradle the laundry?
Not even sure where this conversation has gone.
That's a Grand National?
That's the one you thought that is a Monte Carlo.
Oh, it does for the taillights.
But it's got the big top. It's the NASCAR one that the air flows over it nicely. I forget what they call that. They called that Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. This is another contribution.
I recognize the side profile and stuff, but that window is very...
Contribution from Buddy Carfano. He sent in a lot.
Thanks, buddy. 38 Racing has two 78T type Regals.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I almost thought he had. See, I had that the big Buick. Just said it a minute ago. My brain quit again. Buick's LeSabre, like Lester. It's Buick LeSabre. And there was a LeSabre T-type, and I always wanted one like the 78 or 79 T-type LeSabre, but yeah, I never got one. They got old, and now good luck finding one. 38 Racing said he never liked the Aero Monte. Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks okay. I mean, I kind of like it, but it's I mean, they did that for a reason. So go faster. Raw dog watching. Yeah, okay. We're not going to talk about
I don't
politics.
mind. This is not like a judgment of anyone in particular. This is my general to any of those addresses. I do not mind missing it because for the next week, it will be on just like perpetual replay in the news. Everybody will have their opinion about it. They'll play
What's
it
that?
over and over again and analyze every word and
What's that?
like a State of the Union type address.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to watch it, go ahead.
We just
But
not.
I mean,
We
like,
don't discuss that stuff here.
no, we don't get too into
The only
politics
politics
because
I'll
it's not our
discuss is
thing.
like ancient stuff, like some president drove some kind of car and it's when he was a kid or something.
Current politics, we
I'll stay away from it.
do have opinions and we do have discussions, but that's not this stream. Keep this to
Okay.
cars because there's enough of that all the time, all day long. I get bombarded.
KJ Kylie Aero Coupe Pontiac made one too, and Buddy Carfano. It's the next one he put up there. Look at that. That's a Pontiac with the Aero.
Oh man, yeah, that's just a mistake to put all that glass back there.
Well, it makes it NASCAR. They could, because they made whatever the minimum is, 500. They could run that, and then they can go faster because the air flows over it. Doesn't cause a big vacuum back there. Terry
okay.
Mott says, hello, Terry. Welcome to the stream.
My Monty had a like a 4.3 in it, and boy was it a dog. It was such a slug.
4.3 in a what?
A Monte Carlo, 85 Monte Carlo.
It was that bad, huh?
Oh, it was horrible. I think it had like super low highway gears in it though,
Or
because
super
it just
high?
it just
Oh, I mean like low numbers, high gear.
yeah,
So it didn't
like
have any power.
254 rear end or something. It was just such a slug.
Because I had a what was the small Chevy? What was the small Chevy van? The kind of the first mini Chevy van that was a rear driver. Somebody's going to get points here when they write that what it is. Anyway, I had one with a 4.3 V6 in it, and I used to tow cars back from
Like an Astro?
an Astro van. You get the points. So
Woohoo! Points for me.
So yeah, I had a hitch on it and a tow dolly, and I used to bring cars back from the auction with that thing, and it just rolled right down the highway at 70 miles an hour and handled good. And I don't know, I always thought that the 4.3 was pretty decent engine, but I was using it differently. I wasn't racing it. I was just, and it was probably geared low enough, pulled cars okay. Terry Mott, hard to believe those are 40 years old now. Not quite. 38. Yeah, they're 38 years old. Wow.
Tommy Hanlon says hello from Dublin. It's 1:47 a.m. Dry and warm enough morning. Great to hear from you, Tommy. Welcome to the stream.
Look at all the people that tried to get points. KJ Kylie, Barrows, Buddy Carfano, Indecisive, John Bossoms, and they all said Astrovan. But you got them first. But I think they probably put it up there. So
all the people who raised their fingers to type, I'm giving you all a point because you made the effort. And was KJ Kylie first? Scroll
he
up
was.
just
I think I can't scroll that. You have the mouse. Can I scroll? I'll reach out there and scroll it up.
Okay. KJ Kylie was fastest, so I give you one additional point.
So KJ Kylie gets 2 points?
Right.
Everybody else gets 1 point that said Astrovan?
Yeah.
I couldn't pull that out of my thick head.
Yeah. Actually, if you still just type Astrovan right now in chat, you can award yourself a point for saying it.
And then Hippie Long says Aerostar, but an Aerostar was a Ford that was a rear driver. Oh, actually, I had one that was an all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive that I bought at an auction. And it was a piece of crap, but I got it running. I'm not even sure I got it running. Some guy, I was in Ohio, I had it on eBay. Some guy in California bid on it, drove all the way out, or flew out, rented a truck. We loaded it in a truck, and that guy, I made good money on that thing. And that guy was so happy. It was a rusty piece of crap. But I think he wanted all the running gear in it. And I remember I couldn't believe I made money on it because as soon as I had it, I wish I'd never seen it because it was just a rusty piece of junk. And then Raw Dog says Ford Windstar vans, which was the Windstar van. Wasn't that the same basic running gear as the Ford Taurus, I think. A friend of mine had a Windstar up at Oshkosh one year, and I rode around in it. It was a fairly new car when we were up there. Gearhead had an Astro also, brown and yellow. Brought out GTO, the old GTO. GTO, the old GTO.
38 Racing says there was a guy in town that had an Aero Monty SS that thought it was hot shit. Always wanted to race my Vega after he left the bar, never when he was sober. Yeah, I don't really want to race somebody unless...
Here's another one for Buddy Carafano. It's almost like the one I put on the thumbnail tonight, except this one's got T-tops and got a license plate frame in the front.
That looks like the... Okay, I know it's not, and it probably looks completely different, but it reminds me of the Ferrari from Magnum PI.
Oh, except this thing's huge. Yeah.
It's a completely different car, but it's something about the color scheme, I think it is.
Tommy Hanlon says, Opel made an Astra. Oh,
Opel
yes.
Astra?
That was like wasn't that the car that was the same as the Pontiac? What was the little Pontiac like that? Why am my brain so dead? The little 2-seat Pontiacs. I think it was a 2-seat car, wasn't it? Yeah, Pontiac made an Astra too, but that Pontiac Astra was like a Chevette, I think. But the Pontiac made a car that was like the Opel Astra, I think. Oh, Tavo, is it today already? Man, I'm really not staying up with the chat here. KJ Kyler says Astro van was basically an S10 with a van body, pretty clever. Luis McGill Suarez Barrios. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Welcome to the stream, Luis. It is it an 82 or is it an 87?
What?
It's an 87, but I think the body style is very similar.
Yeah, that body style came out in 82, but they made those up through, what, 87 or 80? I don't know when the last one was like that.
Then they went with like a smaller, curvier one.
They went to a really curvy one. The ones after that, the 4th gen, you couldn't even wash the windshield. You needed a stick with a rag on it because the windshield was so sloped out there. It looked cool, but man, it was hard to wash windows on those things. Tom, is it today already? Yeah, it's I know it's Wednesday there. It's Tuesday here. Looks very IROC. Let's see, where's my cursor? Oh, Vega's sister. That's right. 38 Racing. The Pontiac Astra was a Vega, and the Astra in Europe, I think, was the like a Pontiac Solstice. I think it was the same thing as a Solstice. See, I did remember it eventually. Yep, Barrow's already put it up though. Solstice. But Carfarm, I had the same IROC sold when I got stuck in the snowstorm.
Yeah, that would not be good in the snow. Very light in the back. Even if it had a positive traction, it would just have a hard time for snow.
Justin McFly. Oh, I'm missing some. I'm sorry. Astra's a Pontiac. Let's see here. Luis. Wow, cool car. Yeah, I remember those when they were new. I really liked them. I like those. The 3rd gen Camaros, and I really like the 3rd gen Pontiac Firebirds and
You know why I didn't like those cars when I was young?
Why?
All the rich kids got them.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah.
I hated them for that.
Here, at that time when those cars came out, the 3rd gen, I was working in a wheel alignment shop, and I liked to get the guy that ran the shop. It's a big shop, and he liked to feed the work. And I'm trying to tell a story, and the ads come rolling in.
Tell the story anyways.
I'll tell a story in a minute.
Oh. Justin McFly says his 82 IROC Z28 had Darth Vader vibes for the interior It was so Star Wars to me. Swap the 305 for a 454. Oh, that'll wake it up. That sounds
So
cool.
maybe the ads are done. At the time when the third generation Camaros and Firebirds came out, and the Mustang, uh, the Fox Body Mustangs were still pretty darn new. I was working in a wheel alignment shop, and the guy would feed the work to us. If it was work we liked, he'd try to feed us that. And that, we always didn't get the work we liked, but if it was available and we were free at the time, and I like crashes, so I got a lot of these that were because these were the kind of cars people crash. You get somebody that drives one of these over a curb at 80 miles an hour, and everything in the front end gets jacked up. And I was so I worked on a lot of these and fixed them, and I enjoyed them. I thought they were pretty nice, and I really the Firebirds, yeah, and the Formulas and the Trans Ams, the third gen. I really like the third gen ones. I thought the Saturn version of the Solstice was actually nice and elegant. Yeah, the Saturn had a lot more chrome and stuff on it. 38 Racing, Ken's Furniture, and Cash App ads. I've used Cash App a lot.
Can you get 2 points for calling out your advertiser? Thank you for enduring advertisements, and thank you to Ken's Furniture and Cash App for supporting the stream.
Oh, it says, but yeah, Kim and I come from similar times when rich kids wrapped Camaros around poles and we had old Mopars.
I didn't even have old Mopars. I had just junk.
But you eventually had old Mopars.
I did. I slowly, as I got older, I worked towards better cars. But I had a couple of
See, when I
really
was
junky things.
when I was in high school, I graduated from high school in 1972, if you can believe that. And the rich kids, the spoiled rich kids, had brand new Chevelles, and man, a brand new Chevelle 350. And there were only a couple of kids had those things. And there were a few that had Camaros that were a couple of years old. But most of the people that didn't have a lot of money were like me. And I had 56 Fords and friends that back then didn't have a lot of money and they were Chevy guys. They had 55, 56, 57 Chevys, which at the time were $400 or $500 car. If you can imagine a $400 or $500 57 Chevy. Man, those were the days. And they were still in pretty good condition. Yeah, the Opel Mana was sporty looking. Oh yeah, the Mana. I like the Opel Mana. I really like the Opel Mana.
Did they make one in 1987?
I don't think so. I think the Mana was like late 60s, early 70s. You can look. Justin McFly. Funny, I traded it for a 91 LX Fox Body convertible. What did you trade? I missed something there. What did he have? Justin McFly. It must be up above. I already missed it.
82 IROC.
Oh, the 82 IROC. Okay. Oh, that's one had Darth Vader interior.
Oh, and then he traded it for a
An LX.
91 LX Fox Body convertible? Well, at the time, when it was much newer, I could see where that would be a trade up.
It'd be long. My folks had a 72 Matador 4-door tan with vinyl top. Not cool for teenage dating in 1977. Yeah, I had a 74 Matador, the big 2-door with a bug-eyed. I thought that thing looked pretty cool, but that was one of the first AMCs that I thought really looked, it was at least not outdated. But a 72 Matador 4-door, yeah, I would have been. If my father bought that, I wouldn't even want to drive it. Luis says, well, this is so true. Not sure what that was for.
Probably talk of the rich kids in their Camaros.
Oh, yeah. Barrow's first and only car I bought from a dealership was '87 Skyhawk. Looked a lot like the Camaro that was left in the dryer too long. The Skyhawk, wasn't that the one that was kind of an outgrowth of the Vega, but a much more substantial car?
An 87 Skyhawk was more like a Cavalier.
I don't think so.
Well, we're gonna.
We're gonna find out. Kim's gonna look it up. Dick Dastardly, I borrowed my brother's S10 for about a week. The day I gave it back,
You'll see.
pulled into a parking lot with both doors dragging on the ground. He took it out and smashed it up on purpose. Oh, you're right. Oh, yeah, that is more like a Cavalier. What was I thinking? The earlier... What was the one that looked like a big Vega, substantial Vega? I can't think what those are called.
Oh, well, it's probably still a Skyhawk, but it's probably
Probably older.
like an 82 or something.
Yeah, look up like a 1980 or 1978, something like that. 1980,
Let me see
80.
when it happens. Oh, see, in 83, it was still a Skyhawk. We'll say 78. Surely would be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking it was. Yeah, and you had the much newer one, same name, different car. Yeah, these are pretty cool, but we're not on 78 this year. But we'll show pictures
Well,
of
we got to
78s.
show the difference between the
We sure
78 and
did.
the 87.
We sure
It's a
did.
very different car. Different car.
Oh, it says I went to this Catholic school with rich kids. And one day the parking lot iced over, and they were cheering uh,
For making the tires
four. Oh, that's
slip.
four, making tires slip. And that was yeah.
Look, I can spin the tires on ice. Like,
Let's see, the square body S10s and the Cyclone are nice mini trucks. Oh, Cyclone is really something. Jay Leno has one of those, doesn't he? That's a fast truck. Um, anyway, my grandma, this is Louise. Anyway, my grandma had the 68 Bonneville, like back in the 70s. 68 Bonneville was quite a car. I had a 67. Oh, mine was a Catalina, same body though. I really like those. Man, I like those cars. They just cruise down the road and they're big and they're comfortable. I don't know why. I really like stuff like that. Oh, it says so geeky photo gal pulls up in duster full of punk. Does a 360 on a dime. Stops again. Departs elegantly.
you showed him. I think she was the geeky.
That was
photo
her.
girl.
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like what the car she'd
A
have.
Duster with a 360 is a fun car.
Yeah, that's the 38 Racing says 70 Skyhawk was a Monza. Monza was the car. I couldn't think of the name of it. It's an outgrowth of the Vega and quite a bit more substantial cars. Hippie long. I love the Chevy Monzas. Drag racing, Matt. Oh, made a lot of cars cooler. Terry Mott, like a Monza. Yep. Oh, it says I think Camaros still have limited cool because they were idiot kids. See, and I come from a different generation. By the time those cars came out, I was about 30. So I wasn't thinking like a kid. I wasn't making enough money yet that I could buy a new car. But I sure like those, like the 82 and 83 Camaros and Firebirds. I really wanted a Firebird then, but just I couldn't pull it off. I was still, well, in fact, that's when I got my first Zephyr, my first Fox body.
I remember if you had an 87 IROC, you were the coolest kid on the block. Or you thought you were the coolest kid on the block.
Seeing it was in 84. No, it was 83. I got that 79 Zephyr, and I got it was crushed in the front end and didn't have any bad damage. It's just body damage. I fixed it, and that's how I ended up with something that was 4 years old because it had damage on it.
Boy, they really like this red one. What was it that made these cars so cool? Like what movie or advertising was it? Or was it just because it was it wasn't a Corvette, but it was still
Mike says that car came with Adidas tracksuit.
It so did. Yes, it did. Oh man. And a gold chain. I would think you'd need, yeah.
KJ Kylie says, which was the higher line, Catalina or Bonneville? Catalina was the less expensive, and Bonneville was more expensive. Always had big, wider taillights, always wider, and it was more luxurious car, more expensive. And mine was a Catalina. My 67 was a Catalina. It's a big, white two-door, giant fastback looking thing. It's enormous. And Olive says Milkmen, the Dead Milkmen song, Bitchin' Camaro.
Bitchin' Camaro, bitchin' Camaro.
See, I don't even know
my
that.
neighbor. Bitchin' Camaro. I don't remember the rest of the words. I used to know the words.
Luis, I was planning to buy a 73 AMC Javelin. You want to look that up. I mean, that's the Javelin that had the big whoop-de-doo fenders.
Everybody loves a nice 73 Javelin.
See, that was the first year I was in the military, and I knew guys that bought those. They all of a sudden, you know, young guys, and they got money, and there's a credit union, and they can borrow money, and they can make the payments. And I knew guys that bought those Javelins in 73.
Oh, yeah, and there was good jobs for them to work in a factory or something like that. There was no problem. They were going to be able to pay for
Well,
it.
they were in the military, so they had...
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. They knew they were going to pay for it.
Yeah, so once you're in the military, you can borrow from the credit union, and then you get an allotment, and the money goes to the credit union instead of a paycheck. So
Hippie Long says it was cool because it got chicks straight up. I guess it did. I
I had a friend that bought an 82 Corvette, and he goes, "Man, I'm gonna have all the girls now," and he was kind of loudmouth, say dumb stuff, but he thought he was gonna have all the girls because he had that Corvette. He didn't have all the girls because, you know, and when he had that thing, I had an old beat up, and I mean beat up, brown Mazda RX-3 wagon. It was a piece of junk. And I had girlfriends, and he had that new Corvette, and he didn't. He can't believe some girl would go for a ride with me in my... I said, well, she didn't really go for a ride with me in the car because of my car. I met her, and that was a piece of junk I had. Yeah, we went out.
Yeah, if you didn't have a nice car, you had to have, like, character or personality. It was tough. It was tough.
Man, I just... Yeah, it's cool because it got chicks. Iraq, Italian. I can't say that word. See, we were talking about that word, the Italian on a cruise. That word, we were talking about ignition. You go advanced, and then we had to, because we found out when we used that word that YouTube didn't like that. So we had to say anti-retard or negative retard, or I said the word, negative advance or advance.
Take some advance out.
You're not supposed to say, and I just said it, that word when you go backwards with the advance. But this far into the stream, I think if you put it in the title, I think then
don't put it in the title of a video.
Because then that's a bad word.
Remove advance from your timing is a bad. Should I remove the advance from my timing?
So
you just won't get a lot of views.
Yeah, they didn't put that one out.
Yeah, that was a bad choice of titleage.
So, and we were having trouble. What we had was Kim had what was that that module you had? You used it on your Dart, or no, you used it on my Valiant. It was the GM electronic ignition. See, I can't pull up words. What is that called, Kim?
I didn't even hear what you said.
No, you're not paying attention. The GM ignition module, electronic ignition module.
Oh, HEI?
HEI. And we had an HEI that she put on my car.
And it was trash.
And instead of advancing,
it went the other way.
It went the other direction.
The faster the RPMs, the less advanced.
It would go backwards.
Yeah, it couldn't keep up. It was messing up.
What a piece of crap that was. So we ended up changing it out, and then it worked.
Yeah, we put a Mopar. We put points on that.
We put points on. Mine is just the way.
Mine has a Mopar.
Mine works so well. It's got little tickety points in there. Okay. It just works fine.
We've put like an hour on that engine since we built it a year and a half ago.
We got to run that engine. You know, I should take the battery that's on the one that came out of my Ford, my Mercury, and put it in that car because I got to buy a different battery. Maybe it'll fit in the Valiant.
It'll definitely fit in there.
Then I'll have a driving Valiant again.
That's a good idea because we need a battery for it. That's perfect.
Yeah, that'll work.
If not, we can pull the battery that's in the Dakota out for temporary and use it in the Valiant. Because I don't need to do anything with the Dakota right now.
It's in the Dakota right now?
No, I have a brand new battery that I purchased and put in the Dakota last year.
I was going to say we could put my battery.
It's been used to start the engine like 3 times. That's in a year.
We can put my...
you can say it, Terry, but no one has to listen.
I'm out of words. I'm trying to talk.
That's the problem, is if you do say it, they may not show your video to anyone.
I'm going to reach across. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up with the chat, and I'm just not doing it.
We are doing a terrible job of following the chat.
So, any
Everyone who's chatting, thank you for being here and participating in the stream. We are scatterbrained and following the chat for hours at a time. It's been over an hour. Reading chat for an hour straight can be, we get distracted.
Hippie Long says 72 cars for Olympics year. My Maverick has special stickers. That's
for the Olympics.
That's what I wanted to. I wanted to roll back to that. Raw Dog says Ford Pinto. I don't know about Ford Pinto. I had so many Pintos. Mine were all station wagons, so they weren't the explosive Pintos. And really, the explosive Pintos, there was a fix for that. That was back in the day when I had a lot of Pintos coming in and out of the shop, because that was just the time of the year that's when it was. And I used to look under every one of them to make sure the recall was done. It was a free recall. And I caught quite a few of them. I said, hey, get this car into Ford and get them to fix that. And they put a longer filler neck on it so the filler neck won't pull out of the gas tank, and they put a plastic shield between the tank and the rear end, so if you get hit in the back end, it doesn't ram the tank into the sharp edges of the rear end and split it open. So I sent a lot of people to a Ford dealer. Yeah, you can say it. Retarded. Yeah, it's a retarded ignition, but you don't put it in the title of the video, and don't say it in the first minute or two of the video. Luis says, I think Ford Pinto was the worst car, and I don't think it was the worst car in the whole world. I wish I had of course, I had wagons and the little Pinto vans, but man, I like those cars.
It was the worst car yet.
Man, did I like those cars.
But then they had all the cars that they built in the 80s. And by comparison, not so bad.
I had several Pintos I didn't like the 4-cylinder engines because the early 4-cylinder brake pistons. And but they'd run. They'd knock, and you take them apart, and one of the skirts from the piston would be in the oil pan. It'd still run. But I had the V6s, the Cologne engines, and they weren't powerful, but I always thought they were like just impervious to anything. I just run them. But I had radiator shops. I guess they get hot. But I had radiator shops. I always had like 3-row biggest radiator you could put in them. And mine ran 180 degrees always.
More Rivians have caught on fire than all the Pintos that ever burned.
Who wrote that?
I'm saying that.
Oh, you're saying that.
Yeah, like a couple of Pintos caught on fire. That was back in the day where the manufacturers took responsibility when there was a problem. But it was a big kerfluffle because they waited a little while to see if it was really going to be a problem. And they knew that there was some potential that it could happen, but they didn't make a recall right away because auto manufacturers hardly ever do. They usually wait and see if it actually is a problem. They don't jump and
it went
turn
away.
it into a thing. What?
I'm like watching. That's like I'm trying to talk. KJ Kylie says the British actually say anti-clockwise and anti-advance. I didn't know they said anti-advance. I know
I'm bored with
the knockoffs. Did you got to hit with a hammer the one nut that holds the wheel on British cars? They say do and undo. I know that. That just seemed like on and off seemed more like okay. Rec was the man. I can't keep up with this. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm missing a whole bunch of them. Hippie Long said I had tons of fun in Pintos with flammable on back. I saw a Pinto one time, a little Pinto coupe, and it had a flame job. The flame job was going backwards. That's all over the internet. So wagons didn't explode? I thought it was all Pintos. No, the tank was a completely different place. And the only reason they explode is
the Pinto flame job.
Yeah, there's a flame job, the Pinto going the wrong direction. The people were in the Pinto sitting still, waiting to make a left turn. It's a little car, a little lightweight car. And a second-gen Camaro going 70 miles an hour didn't even slow down, just wham, which is about a 4,000-pound car. I think any car of that size that got hit that hard, it would have been deadly, And so Pinto got caught, and they fixed it. And but the wagons didn't have the problem. So And I don't know how many Pintos exploded. One exploded that caused the whole debacle.
Why are we talking so much about
Because there's talk up
Pintos?
here about Pintos.
You guys love the Pintos.
See that movie called Top Secret when the 74 Pinto explodes.
Oh,
I
they
have
made
not
a
seen.
movie about it?
I have
Big
not seen that.
conspiracy. Big conspiracy.
I have not seen that. Hot Wheels Poison Pinto is still highly collectible. Really. Early Mustang gas tank was. Oh, yeah, see. And there's another one. Buddy Carfano brings it up. The early Mustangs, Falcons, all that body stock. It was a drop-in gas tank. It had a series of bolts around the perimeter, and it dropped into the trunk. So the floor of the trunk was the top of the gas tank. And those things, you get hit in the back end of one of those cars, those tanks just split wide open. I had people bring them to me because I was the only one crazy enough to weld gas tanks in town. But they'd be split open. I couldn't fix it because they split open on the seam. But those tanks were horrible. Yeah, unsafe as it gets. And if you tip a battery over in one of those, now you got, you know, a battery in the trunk, flips over and now it shorts out against the gas tank. You know, what could be better? But they never got caught for the drop-in gas tank. That was way worse than the Pinto.
Someone said that once they wrecked too many of their Camaros, their dad bought him an Eddie Bauer Bronco. That, yeah, I remember him in the Broncos. After I remember a kid, yeah, they wrecked. He wrecked his. They were drunk driving. He wrecked his truck. There was a keg of beer in the back of the truck. It smashed the cab of the truck. Everybody got really hurt, messed up real bad, flew through the windshield. Nobody was wearing seatbelts or anything like that. And the next vehicle he had was a Eddie Bauer Bronco. It tracks. The whole thing tracks. I don't know why. It just does.
38 Racing says, don't take your early Pinto snow drift busting, snow packs in the timing belt and jumps. You know, the original Pinto, the first year they had a 1600 pushrod engine that I think was a British engine. Not many of those out there. And they had a 2000cc overhead cam 4-cylinder. And I bet that's the ones he's talking about. And then those went away and they had the 2300, which is around forever. And that 2300 is the one that comes in the Fairmonts. And those are the ones, the 2300, the early 2300s, before they turbocharged them and beefed them up. The pistons would break in them. I had several of them with broken pistons. And it's funny, they just keep running. But I remember my Fairmont when I first got it, the Futura, I'd start it up and it'd sit there and go, knock, 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 knock. I never knew what it was. And when I put the V8 in it, I tore that 4-cylinder down. Yep, sure enough, the skirt just dropped. It had already dropped into the pan. It was in the pan. There's my friend Pete, heck of a great guy and cool channel.
Yeah, check out my friend Pete. It's
my friend Pete,
channel.
yeah, he's got a personality.
He makes a lot of rants. He's a very big ranter.
Is there a Pinto with a Starsky stripe? I don't think so. The Pinto vans had kind of a weird stripe up the sides. I see it to 38.
I see it as well, 38.
Oh, okay.
There must have been one with
Terry Mott says, I heard Gene Winfield died today. Yeah, at the beginning of the stream, I know there's a lot of people in here that weren't here then. Yeah, I had a little thing about Gene Winfield and talked about him for a few minutes. And
if you have a specific Gene Winfield photo that you'd like to send, go ahead and send it in to buffdelcampo@gmail.com. We'll try and get to it. You know, huge influence that he's played in automotive design and hot rodding. There's the stripe they were talking about. You see it?
No, I don't know where you're looking. Oh, that stripe. Oh, yeah. I never thought of that as like a Starsky and Hutch stripe. I guess it's sort of backwards, yeah.
That's what they were talking about.
See here, it's one scene in a Val Kilmer comedy movie with the Pinto getting barely rear-ended and it turned into a mushroom cloud. Oh,
it was the butt of car explosion jokes for decades.
That's right.
Decades.
It was
Ford was the butt of every good car explosion joke.
Sadly, I think it was a pretty decent car, other than, I mean, you know, once they fix that.
All the more reason to.
And the wagons. Yeah, and of course they got real cheap. So and the wagons didn't have the problem. I had the wagons and the vans and just loved those things. And, you know, at the time, I had a partner he was the ADCO sway bar uh, distributor. So I had sway bars on mine, and you'd go in a turn, go "Whirr," into a turn, it set low, and it handled great, nice big 10-inch wide tires on it, looked pretty cool. Somewhere I have pictures of that car, but I know I don't have very many good pictures of it. Before the days of cheap and easy pictures. Kind of school had a pink. Oh, wait a minute here.
Pink
McGill says
Floyd.
my
Oh,
dad have the Hot Wheels Ford Pinto back in the 70s.
yeah,
And
I was
school had
showing
a
that.
Pink Floyd. Oh, okay. Prison paint job on his Camaro. Thought he was the cat's on
That would
him.
be pretty cool. I gotta say, Pink
The
Floyd paint job.
Dastardly says my ex
Sugared
sugared
my
my
gas
gas tank
tank in my
67.
67 Le Mans. It flooded and caught on fire. We put it out with snow and wet leaves. It started up and made it home, burnt wiring and all.
You got cars with burnt wiring.
I have several vehicles that have caught on fire. The Chrysler Crossfire, which we call the Lost Fire, definitely was very burned. It's crispy. And the Bronco 2 that I've recently been working on, but I drive it around. It has all these, like, it has a bird nest of burn up wiring that we make work. So the Bronco 2's been on fire. What else do we have that's been on fire? Not too much else.
Blue Grit says, Blue Grit's here.
We
Good
love
evening.
cars that catch on fire.
Mustangs had drop-in tanks from 65 to 70. There's a company called Tank Armor, which is basically a trunk floor that used the same tank bolts. I didn't know about that. It was above Buff's head earlier. I don't know what I missed.
That would have been the Starsky striped
Oh,
Pinto.
okay.
We're behind in some comments there.
Hey, Walter. 38 38 Racing Shields and NCSBN ad.
I don't know what either of those things are. But you get 2 points for calling out the people who have supported us through their advertising. And maybe if you're curious, you can look up what those things are, because I don't know what they are. But they're out there spending money on advertising.
Barrow says the Trano GT hockey stick stripe. I know that's the one you're talking about. That's the
Starsky and
the
Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, but I thought the Pinto one didn't really look like that. But I guess
kind of did.
Dick Dashley says burn wiring, piece of speaker wire through the firewall to the carburetor for a hand throttle.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
I used to fix gas tanks a lot in both my radiator shops, and I got a lot of work from. It was a big deal then. All the people that installed stereos, because cars came with AM radios basically, and people wanted good stereos put in. And I had they used to bring me heater cores that they drilled holes in and all kinds of damage from installing stereos. But they brought me a gas tank one time out of a Ferrari because the guy had run a hot lead from the battery that was up in the front and through what he thought was the firewall. But no, it was the gas tank, and he couldn't get the wire through, so he went on the inside and drilled that way, and then he got the wire through. Well, the next time the guy went to get gas after he had his stereo installed, fuel went all over the place because the guy had run the hot lead through the gas tank. So there I was fixing a gas tank for a Ferrari. I bet that guy was happy. Oh, man. Starlet at Hutch. Well, I've told this story before. I had a friend that had a Plymouth Duster, and he's just, we were kids, stupid, screwing around. He'd get out of his car and go across the hood and come back and go across the hood and jump in, like Starsky and Hutch, because it was so stupid. So I said to him, what are we? And I just came up with it the second. I said, what are we, Sparsley and Hatch? And he thought that was so funny. He goes, yeah, I'm Hatch. I go, no, I'm Hatch. You're Sparsley. And he go, no, I'm Hatch. You're Sparsley. So we always had this argument going, and he's going across the front of his Duster, and it's just stupidity, kids. Sparsley and Hatch. Luis, my friend Simon, he had the 78 Ford Torino. 78 Torino. What's the 78 Torino look like?
Oh,
78. Shields is a sports store. Okay, I didn't know that. Gearhead Crossfire that started on fire. Weird. Yeah, it was a Crossfire that started on fire. It was from the cause of the fire was a bad battery charger
I think they burned it up with a battery charger.
with a battery charger. Then the whole interior was burned
That's
up
the
and stuff
story.
under the hood was burnt and the windshield was melted. But she bought it and we took the rear end out from under it, narrowed the rear end. It's a independent suspension. We narrowed it, and the plan is to back half her Dart and put a fully independent suspension under it. But the rear end's done. We did that all on YouTube videos. But we had
Then we put a forward rear end in
But-
instead so we could get it done faster. And then we had to put a whole new engine. And we upgraded from a 3-speed manual to a 3-speed automatic. And at that point, we needed to get the car out of the garage. And so maybe in the spring we'll go back to it. Who knows? Who knows?
At some
Whatever
point-
seems fun is what we'll do.
at some point we might do that. Oh, this is the
Someday, maybe.
Torino. See, I like that body style. I like the 72. I like that nose on the 72. But the 76, is that the one with the Starsky and Hutch stripe?
Yeah.
I can see it there in the upper left.
I do like the 72.
Oh, 72, that big mouth in the front. I had a couple of those things. I sold them because I made money on them.
I am going to open
30.
my Arizona Mucho Mango tea because that sounds good.
38 Racing says, I bought a 59 El Camino that had been through a building fire. Not much left. Melted the aluminum rims. Glass stripped to the bottom of the doors.
Wow.
Man,
That's hot.
why did you buy that? He has his collection of 59 Chevys. I guess he just buys everything that's a 59 Chevy.
There might have still been,
There might have been
stuff
something
on
good
the
on
bottom
there.
end.
Uh,
Drivetrain stuff.
Blue Grit, I believe, top secret that's seen that vehicle stop for hitting the pinto and then slowly rolled into it and tapped the pinto before the mushroom cloud.
Yeah, the bit, every joke needs to have a butt of the joke. The Pinto was the one. That's okay. That's okay.
Says, now I'm realizing I'm still back in the 80s and never actually faced an IROC Camaro because they would go off the road before anyone could challenge. By then, no one respected. Oh, it's like kids in the new Mustangs now. They leave a Cars and Coffee and do a couple of zigzags and take a telephone pole down or something because they got 600 horsepower and no skill.
Yeah. Not a good first car.
Belong. That was funny, Terry. I don't know what that was.
That was rich parents trying to live vicariously through their children.
Yeah.
It wasn't really the kid's fault.
Holly on a small block Ford should come with a fire extinguisher free of charge. That accelerator pump points right to the distributor and dang near touches it. I never thought about that. All my small block Fords, I don't think I ever had a Holly on one. I had the Ford carburetors, the Autolite one, like we have a carburetor in the kitchen, like the one in the kitchen, and then which looks kind of like a Holly, that same shape, but it's got a big lid on the top instead of two bowls. And then most of my small blocks had Carter AFBs, which looks just like an Edelbrock now. Dick Dashley says I paid a guy to do the body work on my 72 340 Duster. Barrows, I picked up a lot of Fords on the crispy cheap thanks to Holly and a little bit of sitting time.
I did get mine, but it wasn't because of Holly. I don't know why the Bronco was on fire.
Dick Dashley says I wrecked the front end of my Duster the day I got it back. Oh no. Gearhead says, because it's a 59 Elk, I had a friend that had a 59 El Camino, and he went over a railroad track crossing so fast. Oh, he's like in high school, went across that thing so fast, got airborne and stuffed it in the back window of a car that was parked just beyond that. So he ended up with the front of it in the back window of a car. He walked away from it. Nobody was in the parked car, but he wrecked a lot of stuff. He's one of those kids. See, Blue Grit Garage, I had to replace the cardboard bulkhead behind the rear seat with sheet metal to pass SCCA and No Name Nationals Tech. Cardboard bulkhead behind the rear seat.
Yeah, you can't have cardboard.
No, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it would be Some of those just have braces and they're wide open into the trunk.
But if you have the seats still in, I don't think they require you to put sheet metal there. Oh, no, no, no. It's if your fuel tank is in the trunk.
Oh, because
Or your battery.
oh
There's,
God, I just turned. Youch.
it's something like that. If you have the fuel cell or the battery in the trunk, you have to have a metal wall there. But a street car, it's not required because everything's safe already.
Oh, 38 says there's still enough left for what it costs. Well, good. This is another
That's
car.
why I bought the Crossfire, because there's still plenty of good parts on there. The fuel pump alone.
This is
and the
another
wheels.
car that Buddy Carfano sent. This big old Lincoln.
Lincoln.
And then I'm going to put up another one just because I don't really like that Lincoln a lot. Oh, yeah, these things.
Ah,
Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. I had a friend that bought one of those. I rode in it. It had a little wiggly on the passenger side of the windshield. It had a little ruler in it from just, it was made with a little hobble in it.
So would that have the 2.2 or 2.5 turbo version of the same motor that's in the Dakota that I have, wouldn't it? I was thinking about taking that motor out and selling it because somebody with a car like this would want it. It runs really good. But you know, did I tell you how many miles are on that Dakota? I never looked at the odometer because I bought the truck. I looked at it. I said, there's no rust. It's worth what this guy's asking for. And I bought it. And it didn't run, and I didn't care because it was worth what he was asking just for the body.
But then you made it run.
I did get it running and so, but I never looked at the mileage. Do you know what it said? It's 260,000 miles on that little Dakota. Wow. It runs really good right now.
38 says it's a 2.2 turbo.
But is that the same?
I think they're basically the same engine. I don't know if they're identical or if they interchange
or not. It's the K-car motor, right?
Yeah, I think so.
My Dakota has the same motor as this little car.
38 Max, that's how it's supposed to work. I don't know what that is. Still enough left. Okay.
Whatever. I think he was talking about wrecking his car the day he got it back from having body work done.
Luis says that car was one of my favorites. Terry Mott, I had an 85 town car like that. Don't stop the brakes. The rear end likes to pass first.
Oh, yeah. That seems like a proportioning valve issue, doesn't it?
I don't know. It could be anything. Could be different tires. Could be, any big car like that, you stop on the brakes and they lock up. It's likely to go anywhere. Yeah, and if the rear brakes come on more than the front brakes do, yeah.
Well, now they have like anti-lock brake systems. The cars they stop straight. I gotta give it to them. When those systems are working, the car does not fish out.
They have these tandem master cylinders, what everybody calls a dual system now. Tandem master cylinder. Usually it's the back, but it doesn't really matter which one. It's usually the back part of the master cylinder runs the front brakes, and the other part runs the back brakes. And if you lose part of the master cylinder, you still have one set of brakes. Well, if you lose the fronts, it's really hard to stop a car just with the back brakes because there isn't enough there. You go for a long ways before you stop, although you can stop. But I had a Dodge Omni, a 79 Omni that I bought almost new, and that car, the tandem master cylinder, one half of the master cylinder ran the left rear and the right front, and the other half of the master cylinder ran the left front and the right rear. So I thought, man, that's going to pull real weird. But I lost half the master cylinder one time, and it didn't stop quite as quickly, and it felt a little strange, but it basically stopped straight. And I don't know why all cars aren't like that, where it splits the system offset like that, because I could still stop fairly well, and it was pretty darn straight.
I've seen not quite a few. I've seen several cars that are set up like that.
Are they? I don't know which other ones are. I don't know,
but I've seen them.
Surprised mine was like that.
I'm surprised more aren't like that. It doesn't make sense why they wouldn't just add one more brake line and make it all independent.
My Cougar, before I put the Chevy in it, still had the 289 Ford in it. I was coming down a hill into an intersection with a red light. I stepped on the brakes, and the brake pedal went way down, and I lost the front of the front brakes, that part of the master cylinder, and the back wheels just locked up, and it was like down that hill, me trying to stop that thing just with the back brakes. I did it. I didn't go into the intersection, but barely. And I went and put a master cylinder on it. right then, that day. Uh,
Olive was saying about how she tried to make the Eurotrash chase her in the snow with her duster, but they could not do it because they would wipe out. I believe it. Because she was a fierce
she knew how to drive.
street. Yeah.
Okay, Blue
fierce.
Grit says if you have a drop-in tank, you need more than cardboard or upholstery separating you from the gas tank, where the battery's in the trunk or not. Okay, so the inspector knows the difference between a drop-in tank and not. Yeah, those things are. I mean, I like the cars, but I don't like those tanks at all. I really dislike those tanks.
It seems like it would be pretty easy though to fabricate a safety panel that drops in and then the tank just is suspended for a
Well, and
minute.
the sad thing is, I mean, Ford got in all the trouble with the Pinto, but those things, those drop-in tanks were terrible if you got rear-ended, and nothing ever happened about them.
Maybe they didn't have much trouble.
I mean,
with
that's
they were
they
bigger
just
cars, though.
split
weren't
right
they?
open. Yeah,
They did split open.
I had so many of those come in, and that seam was split. They'd get bent, and the seam split. Of course, the seam's at the top, so when they fill them up, people who don't fill the tank all the way might not know they leak until they do. But then they leak from the seam, and you can't fix it. You just go and gotta buy a tank, But it's a terrible design, and but I like the cars. Man, I loved like '67 Mustang Fastback. I had one of those. One of my favorite cars. I didn't like the gas tank. Uh, First IROC cars were Porsche. Could have been. Hippie Long says not a K car.
Okay. It was. I could be wrong. I don't really
IROC was a
understand.
licensed name. They used Dodge Daytonas as well. Yeah, IROC was International Race of Champions. Man, oh, it says he chased me, catcalling all the way. I picked a decreasing radius, elevating off ramp. Yeah, you got to be careful of those things. His turbo Saab, of course, got flung out into no. He didn't know what he's doing. Barrows. My grandmother had a '87 LTD, good car. Didn't give her any troubles, but the mirrors on those things were horrible. Mounted in the middle of the door, can't see out of it, and bang your arm in it. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look to see
There's
what
the
those.
picture. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see where they are.
Yeah, they are way back.
The only I had with a Ford, it was newer one like the Crown Vic. What's the Mercury called? It's a Crown. Somebody's going to get points here. What was the Mercury that was like a Crown Vic? Not the Marauder, the normal one. I don't know.
Like the Crown Vic. Mercury.
Mercury, it's not the Marauder. It's the, I don't know. My dead brain can't remember anything.
Okay, guys, points go out.
Anyway.
If you know the Mercury that was like the Crown Vic.
Anyway, the mirror on that thing, I had one used car lot. So I was driving it one day for some reason, and I pulled into like a Sonic to get something to eat. And I'm sitting there. Yeah, Marquis, you got it. 38 Racing got it. Grand Marquis, Olive got it. Gearhead got it. Barrows got it. They're all good. Marauders wrong.
You get 2 points, Lester. You get.
Man.
Wait, Marauders wrong?
Yeah, Marauders. I mean, it's a Marauder. No, the one I was in, I said Marauder, but it wasn't a Marauder. It was a Grand Marquis. So, man, everybody knows what it is.
Everyone who said Grand Marquis or Marquis gets 2 points. Well, no. Yes, gets 2 points. And then since 38 Racing said it first, he gets 3 points.
So I was sitting there waiting for my food, or maybe I had my food in a Sonic, with my window open, and it was a nice day, and had my arm
They're on the ball tonight, paying attention. It was like... Okay,
this story's too old now. How do you want to tell it? It's like I started like 3 or 4 times. Barrows, the factory Ford carbs have the accelerate pumps up front catch on fire like Hollies. With the Hollies, you can get the green Excel diaphragms that are more ethanol resistant. Panther bodies. Yeah, Olive, you're right. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm not going very far, and I'm not going for very long. Unless you've moved our props.
do 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 do. Marauder is the same car with a bigger motor. Okay, then you can have points too, Mike, because he even knows. He even knows. All Panther bodies.
What was he saying?
Mike was saying that a Marauder is the same as the Marquis, but it is a larger motor. But
See,
it's the same Panther.
But I knew it
body
wasn't a
platform.
Marauder, because if it was a Marauder, I wouldn't have sold it. I'd still have it.
Okay, but they wouldn't.
Because a
have
Marauder's just, pretty nice car.
Maurice.
So
Mirouet.
this is the carburetor that I said is similar to the Holly, but it's the Ford of the Autolite, and they're
That
talking about
carburetor
this
doesn't work.
accelerator pump right up here in the front, which is very close to the distributor on a small block, I guess. Yeah, this is one of the decorations in our kitchen. So anyway, that thing's a little on the heavy side.
Mike N asks, were those Daytona turbos slow? I don't think. I think they were, but it was a four-cylinder engine with a turbo, and I don't think it was a very complicated computer. I think, the mileage on them, you were going to need major timing belt, turbo service on those engines before like super long. So I think when they were new, they were really great.
Luis says goodnight. I missed that. I'm sorry. I'm missing stuff. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks for being here, Luis. But it was KJ Kylie. It was the Jeopardy song. Because I didn't know where he was going, so I don't know. It was suspenseful to me.
Time to get the carburetor out of the kitchen anyway. It's taking up valuable space in the kitchen.
Blue Grit says he has a Grand Marquis in the driveway along with the 14 other cars and trucks. I think we also have the 14 other cars and trucks. But I have been very reserved, and I have not bought any more cars and trucks, even though I have seen cars and trucks that I really thought I would like. And I've looked, and I'm like, oh, I could buy that. But I've been being I've been holding on to our money, because my money. I say our money, but I mean my money. Because the economy feels very uncertain. Safety and liquidity seems to be the nature of the moment.
Well, let's see here. I'm trying to see where it was. Blue Grid. I have. You said you read it,
Yes.
but I was just trying to find it. I have a Grand Marquis in the driveway. Man, you know what I really like about the Grand Marquis? It's Panther body, but it doesn't look like a police car. Oh, here we go with the ads again. Getting cut off by the ads again. So maybe you're done clicking the ads out.
Thanks everyone for being here tonight.
So
we're having a good time.
I started talking, then the ads started covering me up. Blue Grit says I have a Grand Marquis in the driveway, and I said my comment was that what's really nice about the Grand Marquis, besides it being a really nice car, is it's a Panther platform without looking like a police car, which is to me really advantageous. You have the car without having looking like an ex-cop. Terry Mott, did you read that one yet? My buddy had a 67 GTO.
No.
Showing out, it had a 72 LTD, stomped it, drove both tires up and over the parking block in front of me. It survived, and so did I. Oh, showing. Okay, I understand. I think. I don't know. Not sure what that means, showing out.
Showing off.
Mike, and I was wondering how those Daytonas stacked up against Camaros and Mustangs of the era.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You know what's funny?
It's a very light car.
The smog down V8s didn't go very good, and those first turbo 4-cylinders did. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, but in '87, this little Mustang. There would have been a lot of 4-cylinder Mustangs, and this Daytona would have been much quicker.
Oh, yeah.
But compared to a V8 car, I don't think.
See, when all those cars lost all their horsepower, they still had torque, but they didn't have the RPM anymore, so their horsepower is really low. So so horsepower numbers look really bad. But if you like my '87 Corvette, that thing, the red line was like $4,000 or something. But man, it went really. It was a small block Chevy, but it went really good at low RPM. But the horsepower was not good. But I think that's just because the RPM didn't go up very high. So it was yeah, it was a torquey engine. But I don't think those were torquey engines. I think those were screamers. Blue Grit Garage. I caught your vid on that, man. Good stuff. Oh, I must have missed that. Around here in the Rockies, Eddie Carters do a lot better, though. I lean that way to fix it.
I think they were talking about how to fix carburetors that were problematic.
Hippie long.
Okay, so Kim, I was watching your Kim Fixes Thing video. Is that your pool in the video? It's a pool here on the property, yes. It's not mine, but it's the pool here, yes. And I was thinking you should chop it up while it's cold out so there's no snakes and you won't overheat. I agree. Luckily, or fortunately, or along that line of thinking, I recently repaired the exhaust pipe that was broken off of the skid loader so that I can run the skid loader, because I'm going to use the skid loader to scoop out all of the debris out of the pool liner, and then I can remove the liner, and then I'm going to use the metal to do stuff. So yes, it does need taken down because the dampness lays in that liner. I think it breeds mosquitoes. So we do absolutely have to get that cleaned up. It's not really my swimming pool, so I don't know how it became my job to clean it up, but it needs done. So I probably won't do a video on that because it's kind of lame. It's just work that needs done. And then we'll get gravel, maybe. Maybe we'll get gravel once we get the swimming pool out of the way.
I don't know what we'll do. I don't know what we'll do. We get.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about all the work I need to get done.
There's like 1,000 projects, and I've got unknown how many years left. Thing about getting old is every day I think of new projects I want to do. But then I have less time every day.
So or I can just work on my car. I don't have to work on that pool. It ain't mine. But yeah, I probably will. Get it out of the way.
Yeah, that pool is an above ground pool. I think it's 42 inches high. Well, that deck's probably 48 inches high. And it's on a hillside. So one side of it is almost even with the terrain, and the other side is like an above ground pool. And I was kind of looking for once we get that thing out of there, I was kind of looking for an alignment rack to put on there that we could just drive out over where the pool is now, and we'd be able to work on cars. But I don't know. That's just some pipe dream right now.
Yeah. It'll be a nice level place to park a couple cars, though.
Yeah, but they'd be down below. Yeah, I don't know. It's a 30-foot diameter pool, so there's a lot of flat space there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it may not look like it in videos, but the whole yard is sloped. It's not like a horrible hillside.
It's like this. There's an undulating thing. I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
You want to build here, it's like
Seamont Pond, like the Clampets. That's right. Up through the ground come a bubbling crew.
If you wanted to build on this property, you'd be doing a lot of leveling first. It is kind of inconvenient having all this rolly kind of terrain. The good thing is there's kind of a creek down that way, and so when it rains real hard, we never flood.
Never flood. No.
And
luckily none of the trees fell down in the wind today, so we're doing good. God. We don't get the tornadoes here either. They always pass to the north of town, not to the south. And
way to the south.
And down towards Nashville.
Down towards Nashville, yeah.
KJ Kiley said those Daytonas ran about a 15-second quarter mile. Yeah, and that wouldn't be bad for the time. That would be a nice quick car. But if you whooped on that car, it would not last past 100,000 miles. That's how those motors were.
It says, I think they call that style of carburetor Cracker Jack box carb. I'd never heard that, but could be. He says, I have a Holly 4-barrel with a lift-up top like the Ford. Really? I didn't know about those. Oh, Gearhead.
Gearhead says you got a Grab side robotic puppy ad. That's the second time there was robotic puppy ads. I guess that's a big push now. So you're all going to be seeing these robotic puppies. I'll bet you they'll be the big thing for this coming Christmas. So get yours. Get yours today. And so thank you for sharing your advertisement, Gearhead. You get 2 points. Barrow says Carol Shelby said it best. Torque wins races, but horsepower sells a lot of cars.
Look, it says my '07 Grand Marquis is slow, but I put large sway bars on it so I don't have to slow down on turns. You know, the first time I drove one of those, I was actually surprised that it went as good as it did. And it was what is that, a 4.6 modular engine. And I thought it was going to be a real dog. And it's not fast, but it's not slow either. For a big, heavy car, they go okay. Now, I've got one of those engines in my van, and it's a pig, but it's a big van that's like like a box going into the wind. So it's not fast at all. And the transmission's all like they were on all the Ford trucks and vans. They're programmed terrible, so the shift points are all jacked up. I'd like to get that fixed. Yeah, the cement pond. I remember that.
Olive said should probably look at the utter catastrophe that she's ignoring at the minute. I would think that is the address that the president is giving. Good luck. I don't want to know about it. Maybe tomorrow. I'm probably sure I'll probably watch all kinds of analysts. You can't escape analysts of it tomorrow. So I'm enjoying this now.
Get the next one.
Hippie says that I am an inspiration to young ladies and men, and any video of me working inspires someone somewhere. I hope so. I like to entertain and inspire people. We met that woman last night who's working for Hyundai.
Oh, you're at my son's house. There was a young woman that came in there.
I mean, not super young, but
she was
20s.
20, yeah, early 20s.
And
she's she's a tech at a Hyundai dealership.
I was really impressed. That was great. I was glad to see it. We do need more young people going into the trades and the automotive and mechanical fields. So I don't know. I hope I can convince some people that it can be enjoyable. I don't know. Sometimes the stuff I'm working on is not very fun to watch or do. So I don't know if I'm doing it a service by showing what it takes to get things done. But
once again,
I hope so.
Last night, Kim was in the shop. We were in there, and she's underneath my dashboard putting the dash back in, which is a miserable job. But she's hustled right in there and working on it, and I'm handing her a few things. And so I'm videoing it, and I'm thinking, is this going to be any good? Because you see, like, some of Kim sticking out front of the dash, and she doesn't cuss, but she's like,
I was cussing.
Well, I didn't hear any bad words, but it was like, I can't get it. I got the wrong bolt in there. I got to take this bolt out and put another bolt in, and it's a sheet metal screw that goes in, and of course the sheet metal hole is starting to get a little bit big, so you get the bolt in, you get it all the way tight, it goes, it gets almost tight, and then it loosens up a notch, and almost tight, and it loosens up a notch. It's like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to make like a sheet metal nut to go over it, but she's doing all the work. She just hustles up and does it, and I'm getting old. I'm really uncomfortable.
You do lots of things, but crawling underneath stuff and on the floor is not a good idea.
My neck is giving me some trouble since that crash, and it's gotten worse. So I'm going to the doctor now pretty regularly. And doctor thinks that we can make some progress with it. But if I'm underneath a dash, bending my neck around, man, when I get out, it's like I am hurting. And I'm probably going to be hurting under there. And she'll get under there and do it, and I just kind of let her. You like that? I just kind of let you do the work. That's bad, isn't it?
Blue Grit says, addresses to Barrows that his daughter's 1990 F-150 with a 5.8 has an Edelbrock, but the throttle response is not that great. It's really cold natured, which is probably due to the dual plane air gap. Yeah, it wouldn't like the cold like that. That would definitely be something to consider changing. Barrow says his son-in-law has a Tesla Model 3, not the big S model, and when he nails it, it feels like a Pontiac or Olds 455 with a Muncie behind it. I really wasn't impressed. I don't know. The Teslas, there's no question the Teslas can be really fast.
The only ones
So,
I've been are S models, and they were quick. In fact, the first S model I got in, a woman took me for a ride in it. She's an old lady. We were on a street, and it was a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone. It was in an industrial area with like driveways everywhere. And she was up the street 65 miles an hour in like a few seconds. I'm like hanging on. Somebody's backing out of one of the driveways, and I said, maybe you should see how the brakes perform. She lets off on the gas, and she says, oh, she goes, it's regenerative something, and it'll slow right down. And she didn't touch the brakes, and it slowed way down. So, okay. But, yeah, I was surprised how good that big old car went.
I don't really have a problem with electric vehicles. Just I don't want one, forced on me, especially not when they're misrepresenting range and pretending like using a battery somehow is saving the world. Because electricity energy still needs to be created and used. So somewhere there's pollution being made. Like, it's not saving the world. And it costs money to buy new vehicles. It's just, anyways. If they were honest about it, I would have no problems with electric vehicles. There's some really great things about them. It's kind of cool, but let's be honest about them.
But Carphone says, watch Kim's brake line video. Thought paint job, van was cool.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
One side of it's all colorful, and the other side's got stickers from like everybody that's no-name nationals and all these autographs all over it. So when that van's gone someday, we're going to keep that door.
The paint job's a little bipolar. One side's black and white and very grungy, like Mad Maxy, and then the other side is a truffula tree motif in multiple colors. It's very artsy. And if you want to see that, I think early in my channel I show the paint job. I did make videos of that paint job. If you're really curious to see me painting the van, I did make a video about it. I can direct you to that video. It might be in a very outdated location where you don't easily find.
What is this?
Thank you for liking my paint job.
Anyone else sad to see Uncle Tony finally decompensating? I don't know what that is about. 38 Racing, and neither does KJ Kylie. 38 Racing Buff. Does suck when the hands don't work right, yeah. This hand works pretty darn good. Probably not quite the grip I used to have. This hand, there's almost no grip. Hurts like hell right here in the center, and it shakes a little bit. And I'm struggling with that. I got doctors working with me. And they have me doing these grip tests. Oh, just trying to do that, Kim. I can't even do that. Not even gripping anything. But they had me doing these grip tests, and I was surprised. This hand was pretty good. This hand was like nothing.
I know. I can still crawl underneath things, but it hurts.
I'm working on it.
But we like take turns doing the things that are difficult. He does things, and then I do things, and we both, we just try and find a way to enjoy it and get through the difficult things. And luckily, we're not on so much of a time schedule. I don't know, maybe we are more than we know, but we just go at whatever pace we can do. All vehicles pollute, some at the tailpipe, some at the power plant. Exactly, 38 Racing. Ray understands.
The only ones that don't, I know a guy up in Ohio that converted some
solar one.
Honda, yeah, and he put solar panels up on this lean-to shed where he parks his little Honda car that he converted into electric, and it sits there and it charges. But it's a hobbyist electric vehicle. That's not a serious electric vehicle. He can drive to the store and back a couple of times a week in it. And Northeast Ohio, it's not real sunny, but as soon as there's light out, it is charging, and I think that's pretty cool. But, yeah, that's about the only one I've ever seen that doesn't pollute. Buddy Carfano, color for side. Oh, I haven't changed.
He must still be talking about my van.
Yeah, Buddy Carfano sent a bunch of pictures, and I'm not showing them all. Oh, here's a big car. You've got us big and the picture small again, so.
Oh, I did. I'll make us little again.
Is there any way you can make that thing? I guess we could. I guess it's big enough. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, that's big old 87 cat. That's another 1987 car. Although that's not really the hot rod kind of car. What is that thing? Oh, it's a Fleetwood. I thought it was a Fleetwood. Big old car. I mean, those things drive nice, I guess, if you're on a trip or something. Kim, can you? I'm not watching the chat. So I'm trying to do this.
Well, let's see.
There's one.
Olive and KJ Kylie are talking about how I guess Tony has some political views. Yeah, we're not going to discuss
No,
Tony's
we're not going to
political
talk about that.
views.
Um,
A lot of pollution, and Bear Rose says a lot of pollution and waste in recycling of vehicles. So keeping on the road where they want to be is the best way to be green, especially the green in the wallet. If you are able to maintain your own vehicle, that is true. But the cost of maintaining an older vehicle is astronomical right now. It can be really expensive. Like a transmission could be $5,000-$6,000, and if the rest of the car is really worn out and unreliable, you start getting towed and breaking down, and it can be scary. And you want to get something new. I can understand that people don't want to maintain older vehicles forever and ever and ever. But telling people, like they did with Cash for Clunkers, like turn in your 5-year-old car, we're going to crush it and destroy it. And that's going to be more economical because you're going to buy this brand new vehicle and save 2 miles to the gallon. It was complete
okay,
farce.
Okay, whatever Tony's political views are, let's just let it rest. Go on Tony's channel and discuss it. I'm done with it. Okay. Sorry, that's it. Because it'll start a big old war here. And
Did it start again?
Yeah, and I don't want to hear it. Okay? Go discuss Tony's politics on Tony's channel. Or what his beliefs are or whatever. We're not doing that here.
Okay. Whatever.
So the next car up is a Fox Body Mustang. One of the later ones. An 87. Which I think the 87 is the one that had the new dash, or was the new dash in 87? Or was that the last year for the early dash? I think the last year for the early dash is 86. Let's see.
I don't know. I'm confused. I get it. I'm good. I had to catch up though. I missed a couple of comments and now I'm caught up.
38 Racing. If you take care of the small things on a vehicle, the cost isn't too bad. Yeah, I always think the people that cause the least pollution with a vehicle are people like a lot of the people in here, because we've got old cars that haven't had to been rebuilt in 50 years. We've done a little along the way and haven't. Oh, Mexican Spec popped in.
Oh, well,
I missed that. How did I miss that?
preventative maintenance is critical. If you don't know how to take care of your car, it's just going to cost you more, no matter what you get, a new or a used vehicle. So yeah, learning how to maintain your property, taking care of it, and not whooping on it, and then it does get expensive when you just let things go until they're bad. People just, it starts making a noise and they drive it till it fails because they don't have the money. They know it's going to cost a bunch of money and they don't have the money to fix it, so they keep driving it until it fails outright, and then it always costs more.
I've seen a lot of that stuff. I could tell you stories from the wheel liner shop,
night long.
From the radiator shops and all that. One time, a guy came in and remember the old Falcon Rancheros? He came in a Falcon Ranchero, and he comes driving in. The front end's up real high in the air, and the front wheels are all negative camber like this, and he comes driving in. And I go out there, and he goes, I don't know what happened. He goes, I went over some railroad tracks real fast, and the front of the car came up, and it didn't go back down again. It just stayed up. The springs are on the top, and the shocks go up through the middle of the springs. There's a little metal thing at the top where the shock bolts on. Well, those towers are so rusty that the shocks pulled out, and then they got caught in something. So the front of the car wouldn't go back down. So he's driving around with it just solid like this on the shocks that are all the way collapsed and they're stuck there. He let that thing go so long that he was driving it with the suspension rusted apart. Uh, I saw another guy come in one time in a brake shop and he had a Dodge, what's the one that's up like a pickup Ram Charger? And he came in with a Ram Charger and the one of the front disc brakes, it had been bad for so long, it had been metal to metal, that it actually cut through the disc and it machined it off the hub. So now the disc was just rattling around in there. The brakes wouldn't, the brakes wouldn't come apart. Didn't blow the calipers apart, but the brake rotor was no longer turning with the wheel. And he brought it in because it had a pull. Thinking a pull? How long did it sound like this? And he just ignored it all that time. So much of that kind of stuff goes on. Man, Barrows. Whoa, that's a 5.0,
Go ahead.
but it's missing a lug nut. It sure is.
The factory 5.0s would have had the 5-bolt pattern.
Would they? I guess.
Yeah.
Did they all?
I think that was just a thing that they were built that way. Blue Grit says new cars are getting more expensive to repair at the dealer than getting an older car repaired by yourself or a local mechanic. Yes, but the thing is, right, is new cars are built for a different kind of buyer, right? New cars are built for someone who's buying a brand new car. And they're not looking at how much is this going to cost to repair 5, 6, 7 years down the road, because they're going to buy another new car before then. Or like rental agencies buy a lot of new cars. So manufacturers are buying for those commercial clients. And those people are looking, does it have air conditioning? Well, they all have air conditioning. Can't even buy a car without air conditioning. Do they have power windows? All this candy. Those features are what the people are buying on. And people who are buying used vehicles, they don't want all that trouble, because when that stuff gets old, but the new cars have to have all these fancy backup camera, rear windshield wipers, special defrost on the, lights under the wheel, all the stupid candy that makes everything more complicated and fancy. And new people buying new, they don't care that in 5 years or 10 years that's all just going to be trouble. They don't care that all the modules are going to break in 15 years from now. The car will be junk, because they don't plan on keeping that car that long anyways. The people who care about the mechanical or the longevity of cars, that's us kind of people. And we don't buy new cars because we know they're just a bunch of trouble. And if we do, we know that we don't want to keep it until it's 100 years old, because we'll hate it. So it's just it's a different world. I don't know.
Mexican Spec says, I guess they stopped somewhere to eat. He says the ribs were good. The wife had shrimp. Your wife had shrimp. Man, I would love to have, I love shrimp. I don't know why. That's one of the things I can eat now. So I'll buy frozen shrimp that are already cooked, and I'll just put them in a frying pan and warm them up and eat them. Tired of that thing flying around.
Oh, that's a good price. New York steak or plate of breaded shrimp, 2 plates for $17.50.
Mexico.
What about? I'll bet you with the beverages and stuff like that, I'll bet you they paid like $25 for their dinner. Yeah, the economy in Mexico is different though. It's hard
Spec
to.
says, yes, and I love the ribs.
I'll bet.
Come
Cool, welcome back.
Oh,
Thanks
man.
for stopping back in, Mexican Spec.
Come with a salad, coleslaw, baked potato, and Sizzler type bread. Man, do you remember Sizzlers? They didn't have Sizzlers up there in
Sometimes
Pennsylvania.
it was Sizzler style
Oh,
dinners.
Sizzlers were great. They're still out in the West. There, I know Bakersfield and Southern California. There's still Sizzlers.
Lester says, you're making us all hungry. Yeah.
Okay, 38. Another Shields DCI ad.
Okay, you get 2 points. Mexican Spec, you're like getting too many points here. You need to stop getting so many ads.
Points getting Mexican Spec? Or
no,
you mean 38
racing?
racing?
I'm sorry. Ray, you're getting a lot of points. A lot of points. What's with all these ads? Dean got an ad, a visit advisor.
That place is full of old Americans. That's us. Or me, not you.
Yeah, speak for
A
yourself.
cruise ship must have come in.
Dean, you get 2 points for your advertisements. Gearhead says that's better than 20 at McDonald's for 2 people. Yeah, you don't even get yummy meals at McDonald's for $20 for
Yeah,
2
would you
people.
rather have a Big Mac or
You'd be at 30,
steak and
$35 for a real
steak and
sandwich
shrimp?
at McDonald's. McDonald's is just. Well, the cost of everything in the United States it's hard to stomach.
87. Olds Cutlass Supreme. This is also Buddy Carfano.
That's a pretty car. I like those wheels on that car. The whole color scheme too is just, yeah, that's very satisfying. 32.9 for that car.
Man, that's a bunch of money, isn't it? Could they really get that for that?
Yeah, asking price does not equal selling price.
Buddy Carfano sent this.
I guess if it was in perfect running condition, 32.9 for a Supreme 442.
What is this?
That's
Kim,
a
really though?
lot of car. What did I do?
I don't know. I was talking about if you guys come to my house, if I have one, cooking steaks, I don't know. There's some typos or something. Can you read that? You usually work your way through it.
Who am I at?
Olive, about halfway up the screen. And then later she says something else, and I'm trying to follow it, and I don't quite understand it.
Hey, if you guys come to my house, if I have one, I'm cooking steaks. And cook them to order? Well, thank you for the invitation, Olive.
And then she says, Kim, really though? I don't know what that's about.
I think she means it. Like, for real, come and hang out and have steaks. We would love to do that if we're able to travel and you are someplace where that's something we could do.
Barrow says $2,500 for taillights. That's
yeah,
what I spent.
don't those Fords have a module in the taillights that cost $2,500 for the taillights for Ford trucks? Yeah, that's a whole transmission, brand new.
We did our taillights in the, oh no, that was the side marker lights. Got them from Mexican Spec for a reasonable price and put some bulbs in them, and they worked great.
Yeah, plus the price to borrow the money for a new car. It's like, wow. 7 years to own.
You're gonna have to shrink that down. Okay. This is I gotta find the note.
I feel badly for people who have to buy a new car because they can't really deal with an older car. They don't know how.
Oh,
Nobody ever taught them how to work on a car. They don't know how to find a decent they don't know anybody who can point them towards a honest mechanic.
I don't know what I did here. I'm sorry, everyone. There, that's the one I wanted.
Yeah. Is that Blue Grit?
No, hang on. I'm just scrambling here to find what I want to say. Buddy Carfano says, my 87 LeSabre. So that's Buddy Carfano's. I can probably zoom in on that, make it a little bit better. That's his 87 LeSabre. And now I'm lost because I...
Mexican Spec says, last time I was here, I paid one of those Palumina, I think a taxi, to take him down the street looking for ribs. And he ended up bringing us to a place we went tonight. It was across the street from my hotel. 150 pesos well spent. Yeah, ask one of the locals where's the good place to eat. Because you'll get something that tastes good and a reasonable price. The people who live there know where to go. Gearhead says that's my Cutlass. Looked like minus the T-tops. I don't know. Greasebelly Garage says they will get it. Ended up bringing us Polymina. That's got to be Lester. That has to mean like a taxi driver or an Uber or whatever. I had that same Cutlass in 1987 in black, says Mexican Specs.
That was that last one that I already closed out.
Olive says, if McDonald's costs that much, as you say, Kim, I can do better. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The cost of McDonald's is for them to hand you the food, make it for you and hand you the food. The food is costs them nothing. It's all in the service and the location. And yeah, and the food does not, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. 38 Racing says, I don't care much for the Euro headlight on that 442. I think that was the picture that we
That
were
was
looking
the one
at before.
I closed it out. I'm sorry. Yeah.
John Bossum says 86 through 87 was the era of carburetors ending and fuel injection factory equipped OBD1 diagnostic as well. Yeah, I have a bunch of vehicles here that are OBD1 diagnostic computers. I know that because I was talking to Dr. Art, and he basically said his tuners don't work on the ODB1 systems.
I remember those old A-body GM cars I was talking about earlier, like the celebrities and stuff. I remember those little things you stick in there and then you count the number of flashes on the check engine light or something, and then you looked in a code book.
The good thing about
ODB, at least you could find something, yeah.
OBD1, right? Not that it was good, but it was better that before the OBD1 diagnostic connectors, like every automotive manufacturer had their own connector and their own code, proprietary codes.
You mean before the OBD2? The OBD1, they weren't, any of them were the same, were they?
No, I think it was the beginning of a unified system.
Yeah.
But fuel injection and computer controls started before that, and everybody was different, and that was chaos. So Mexican Sex says, my point, Kim, I could have walked across the street and saved the money. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, now you know, though. You live and you learn. I don't know.
Jeez. Reading Mexican specs there.
What's that?
Yesterday, but we didn't get a room in that hotel this time. They just closed a carnival here, and even though a lot of the music groups canceled because of the violence here.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mexican Spec.
38 Racing Up Arrows. If it bolted to the engine, it was SAE. Everything else was metric, and I'm not sure what car.
Oh, he's talking about it. The '87 Chevys. Half the bolts are SAE, and the other half were metric.
When they first did that, it was
years.
It was 1977 when GM first did that. And remember, all the bolts were blue, and those grayish blue bolts were all metric, and all the black bolts were SAE. And as time went on, there were more and more blue bolts, and then pretty soon they just quit doing the color coding, which I kind of like the color coding. Okay, let's see. Not many people sent, Buddy Carfano sent a lot of pictures in.
Thank you, buddy.
But nobody else did.
Buddy Carfano, I'm awarding you 2 points for sending emails with pictures. Did anyone else who sent pictures of their own car or vehicles from 1987, I'm going to award you 2 points. I don't have it in front of me to know who those people are, so you know who you are, and you can take your 2 points. Keep track of them. They're useful.
Barrow says OBD1 was the one-off Snap-on, made bank in those years because you had to buy new stuff every year. Tool trucks were your only option. Like, it was rough on mechanics. It still is. You still got to buy new stuff all the time. It's just, well, I'm 71. I'm not a professional mechanic anymore. And ask Kim, I still buy new tools. Although not so much Snap-on anymore.
Yeah, but we don't work on new vehicles any. It's just too much trying to keep up with it.
Anything. I bought a tool she didn't like me buying, but I bought it because it was cool. Because I like the tools almost better than the cars. So I don't buy a lot, but I buy something. Before it gets any later, I'm going to say next week is 1973.
Okay.
And I think 1973 to me is a pretty cool year. So that will happen. And then somebody here, is Lester LeSabre still here? Oh yeah, he's still here. You were asking me questions. And I got this. I ordered it.
I'll bring it up, but don't take it down yet. Bang.
I ordered this on eBay and got it. And there were a lot of them on eBay. And some of them were cheap and had, like, obviously mice had been chewing on them and everything. This one was really nice. It looked new. So I got it. I paid a little more for it. But, so anyway, uh, I looked up to see how big the fuel tank was, and they don't have it listed in here. They got capacities of everything except the fuel tank. Go figure. From what I remember, they were 16 gallons. So you were asking me that. So yours seems to only hold 10. I don't know what the deal is there.
38 Racing says, somewhere I have an OTC 2000 scanner with so many cartridges. It can be useful at times.
Mexican Spec says 87 was his suggestion, but I didn't get to send any pics. This trip went too long. Okay, Mexican Spec.
Yeah, he was down there searching for cars.
So the next week, send in your 87 pictures. I'll show them, even though it's a, what did I say, 73? Yeah, 1973. See, 73 was a good year for me because that was my first year in the military. So I was, I don't know, I was just 19-year-old kid in military school, you know.
Buddy Carafano asks, how many points for finding the headlight switch retainer nut for Buff? I'll give you 2 points. Thank you for looking that up for you.
He found so many of them.
Yeah. I think one of them will work. 38 Racing says, how's work going, Buff? You can answer that question while I got to walk around.
You got to walk around for a minute?
Way too long.
Okay.
I need to move my legs. Oh, okay.
So, work. I think I'm finished. I think I'm finished with that job. I think they got their manual to the point where they want it. And I'm sort of tired of the job. They paid me for it. They paid me well. I worked on it. So, yeah, I think they've moved somewhere and they're flying the airplane or something. They're training some people. I don't know what they're doing. So, I think my part of it's done. I went through whatever it was, 1,200-page manual or something, making corrections and suggestions, and I don't know. They used some of it. I know that airplane really well, so.
I shouldn't give you any of these because they're going to make you cough. You guys ever have these?
Oh, those are so good.
They're yummy. Chili roasted pistachios. They're yummy. They are a little spicy, though.
These are really good.
Don't eat too many.
But they will make me start coughing, and then I'll have to eat a cough drop right away. And I have my cough drops here, so I can eat a few of these. These pistachios are so good. Oh, man. They are a little spicy, though.
You guys got your snacks tonight? Do you guys eat snacks when you're watching the stream?
Listen to this. Mexican Spec says I went to pass a big rig and floored it. It downshifted first and chirped into second. That was a strong transmission.
Oh, that's good news.
That sounds cool. He doesn't know the deal with the small tank either. I put in 19 liters when it was half tank. I put in 38 liters when it was almost empty.
Maybe
38 liters, what, like 10 gallons or something?
Maybe the gauge is just dead wrong, and when you think it's almost empty, it's still half full. That's my only other guess. I don't know. And we tried and couldn't find this fuel tank. Or we did find it. It was supposed to be, what, 16?
You're right. It's going to attack my throat.
Sorry.
But they sure are good.
They're yummy, though. Sorry for eating during the stream, but snacks are good.
These are especially good. But they're spicy. Oh, I don't know if I should be... Oh, here. Buddy Carafano sent another one. Buddy Carafano, see you.
No, I'm
people
coughing.
sending in. Those
yummy.
will make you cough and sneeze. Oh, here's a little baby hot rod.
Oh yeah, I'll make it bigger. Oh wait, I thought that was a Mustang, but it's not.
That's why I said it's a little hot rod. Oh my god. Okay, take these.
Okay, what is that thing?
It's an Escort, isn't it? I don't know
Yeah,
what
it
that
is.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, those are so good, but they're really upset my throat. Oh, man. Zoob's Nuts Smoked Pistachios are my favorite. Made in North Dakota product. Chipotle garlic. Oh, what are these things? They're a combination of something, aren't they?
Just chili roasted.
Oh, chili roasted. Oh my God, those are good, but they're destroying my throat. Oh man. Oh.
Nah, it's a C4.
No, I bet that's a C4.
Yeah, Mexican spec. There's no point in you letting it run out of gas. Just keep topping it up there, and whatever the bottom is, Lester can figure it out when he's close to home. If he wants.
Well, this was a mistake. You knew it too. You knew it when you handed them to me, and
They're really yummy, though.
you even warned me, and I went and did it anyway.
The other thing you can do, if you want to run the tank down, if you get one of those little click-clack electric pumps, and you take the fuel hose off at the carburetor, put the electric pump on there, and you start the car to fill the line into a tank, and then just run the electric pump. The electric pump will pull the tank all the way dry. So you can pull all the fuel out and see what it reads on the gauge, see how much you have, have a couple 5-gallon cans and then fill it back up, put it back in. If you need to know and you're having problems.
I had one of those. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting.
I meant that's another good way, if you need to drop the tank, to drain the tank without worrying about trying to use a siphon hose.
So how do you like driving that Fairmont there, Mexican spec? I like driving those things. I don't know why. It's comfortable. GLH. Is that a GLH? Go like hell? Yeah, it is.
It's a Shelby.
I had one of those with a normal engine in it. It was a couple years older.
What is it, a Dodge Omni?
Dodge Omni.
We have one of those, I think.
My Omni was one of the last ones that had the Volkswagen 1.7 in it. Had a 1.7 Volkswagen with all
or maybe we had a Mercury Lynx.
All the
completely different car.
All the stuff on the outside of the engine was Chrysler, but the engine was Volkswagen. And Mrs. One-Eyed Cat's here. Hello, how you doing?
Mexican spec says he did that with all the cars in the backyard, drained the tanks. Yeah. Yeah, otherwise the fuel goes bad anyways. A dry tank will just...
It's such a pleasure to drive, and it's running better now. Fred Fairmont, who is Lester LeSabre. Mexican spec says now he's Fred Fairmont.
Nice.
Well, have a blast with it. And Lester says he likes his Zephyr. What kind of Zephyr do you have? I think you said you're going to have like 3 Fox bodies now.
Miss One-Eyed Cat is here. And 38 Racing says, welcome, Wendy. Yeah, welcome to the stream.
What's this?
How's your evening been going?
Oh,
Were you ever watching Kiwi tonight? Is Kiwi streaming tonight? He talks about Fords a lot, I think.
Mexican spec. Lester, the only thing Ford on this car is the name on the trunk. It has all Mercury parts on it. Lester Slaber. Now my name is Fred Fairmont. Yeah. Well, is Barrows still here? Barrows, you're the big block Ford guy, 429 and 460 guy, right? I think. Has anybody ever put one of those engines in a Fairmont body? Yeah, Terry Mott says looked like a probe. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, that's a probe. Nope. It says it's a Toyota Celica.
Celica?
Which I think it is. I mean, I look at the nose; it looks like a Celica because of that back window. It kind of looked like a probe,
Oh
and
boy.
that's what I thought it
Like
was.
1 or 2 years later, they took the Celica and rounded it way off from that. That's so square compared to like a 90s Celica.
When you said she was working tonight, you always working in the evening. She always comes
Why
in here a
from
little
home?
bit late, and she's tired from work, but she still stops by, and
Thanks for stopping in,
we
Wendy.
appreciate that.
We're talking about cars from 1987, and we're talking to Mexican Spec. He's on his way back from
Durango.
Durango with a Ford for Lester LeSabre. So he just popped in after dinner, so we're talking to him as well. And what else have we been talking about? We got a whole bunch of
All
different
kinds of things. When we talked about,
conversation goes all over the place. We just try and like
we talked about Gene Winfield. Gene Winfield passed away this morning, so yeah, a little talk about Gene and all the influence he had over guys my age, and maybe some younger people too. 38 Racing, I have a friend with a 79 Mustang with a 460 in it. Well, mostly, and aside from what sticks out of the hood, more ads.
Gearhead said my ex's cousin had a probe, always had problems with it.
Probe was sort of a Ford Mazda conglomeration of stuff.
Oh, I see.
And it was, I don't
Not
know.
the best
I don't
conglomeration.
know. I don't know. I knew somebody had a probe and she liked it, but she wasn't much of a car person. She drove it around. I don't really remember her having
Oh,
any
Olive
problems
should
with it.
like this. It's a Saab. Doesn't Olive like the Saabs?
She's a Volvo person,
Oh,
but
Volvo. That's completely
same country, but
different car.
yeah,
That's kind of a nice convertible.
I guess. I don't know. I guess, yeah.
I would drive that. You probably don't see too many nice examples of them driving around, though.
What front license plate is that? Where is that from? That's not even a European plate. What is that license plate?
QL, is that like Queensland?
Well, that's the number. I mean, there's no name of a country or anything on it.
Well, I know, but QL might be like
I don't know what that is.
TN for Tennessee. It might be Queensland. It might be an Australian car.
This is One-Eyed Cat, Pixel freezing up. People having freezing problems? You had Dana Carvey stealing prior Sob and moving. Great movie. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not much of a movie person.
Shoot, I don't remember seeing it either. Dana Carvey was off the wall.
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, I remember Dana Carvey back in the old Saturday Night Live days, and he's funny.
If you guys are freezing up, it looks like it's a problem on your end. As far as I can see, we don't have any drop frames or network problems whatsoever so far.
That's the picture I should have shown. Was my '87 Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot all about that. Of course, I've shown that on here before, but I could show it again. Let me see.
Mexican Spec says, I wonder why you don't see many slabs anymore, Kim. Well, they were expensive. Then that's 87's a pretty old car. I don't know. Were they complicated? I bet you they had complicated computers and fuel injection systems.
Can you back us off a little?
I can, a little bit, yeah. How's that?
That's my '87 Corvette.
You can zoom in a pop if you want to make it bigger. Yeah, that was his car.
It's out in Arizona, and that you can see some bottles of oxygen or something back there, my torch set. And that was my shop in Arizona. That shop was 14 feet wide and 80 feet long and 2 stories high. I kind of miss that shop. What else do I have? Other pictures of that car. Let's see. That one. Oh, that was a picture I put an ad in when I was trying to sell it. And I had that license plate crossed out, but it's not a real big deal. See, that was the ad popped up. That was the ad that popped up.
Oh, pixel freezing up?
Oh.
All right, well, then you get 2 points for
You get
telling
2
us about your
points.
advertisement.
Terry Mott Wild Headlights. Yeah, that was a kit I bought because I got sick of the broken flipper up and downers that continually
Flipper up
broke.
and downers, is that the technical name for
They
them?
continually broke, and one day I just had enough. Because you know when they break? On a nice cold night when it's pouring rain and you got to pull off the side of the road and kneel in the mud and try to get them open again. I just had enough of it. So I got those things.
Well, speaking of cars with flipper
What are they?
upper downers from 1987.
And those are stationary. and they're German headlights, whatever that means. It's an American guy developed those and sold them as a kit. And they had what's a German headlight manufacturer?
Farfignugan.
Farfignugan, yeah. No up and down, flip around. Mexican spec didn't like these because they didn't flip around, but all you got to do is get stuck in the rain, cold, muddy night several times in there, like with a little tiny screw turn. It was like 47 turns to get the headlight to open up, kneeling in the mud. You just get tired of that very quickly. So I put those in there. And those are some bizarre headlights. I mean, they would, on high beam, they would put some light down the road. And then on low beam, it had a real sharp cutoff, but then over here to the side of the road, the cutoff kind of went away. So you could see off the side of the road real well. It's not Hella. It was, it could have been. What's the other? How about service them before it rains? Well, yeah, the Bosch, I think, is what they were. Here's the problem with servicing them before it rains. It's 1987, so how old is that? At the time I had it, the car was like 25, 30 years old, that range. And, gears strip, things happen, and you can fix them and fix them and fix them, and you're putting old used parts in them, and, you just get tired of that crap. And these work really well.
Terry Mott asks what motor was in your vet.
Oh, it's the original engine. It was a 350. It's the first year. It's an 87, so it was the first year that had the roller cam.
Was it crossfire injection?
No, it was a ported fuel injection. It's what they called. I don't know what they call it. But it was, and it had somebody had gone through the transmission. It was a 700R4 that shifted like. It didn't bang real hard, but it was right there, and I really liked that transmission.
Vintage Adventurer Drives, welcome to the stream, says, "Hey, Buff, I never knew you had a live. I just got on the web after work." Well, welcome in.
Welcome to the live.
Do you know who that is?
I'm not sure who that is. Vintage
Give us a hint,
Vintage
Adventure
I should know. It's like, why don't I know that?
It sounds like that's somebody who you told me about before.
That could be, and I should know, and I'm like, my brain's like half there.
He'll figure it out.
My brain's
Give him
like
a hint, Vintage Adventurer, because he's a little bit slow on the uptake. It's been a long day.
I got up. Yeah, tune port injection. That's what they called it. Honda Outdoors ad, says Dean Stevenson.
Oh, Dean, you get 2 points. Honda has an outdoors division. I guess so, huh?
I don't know what that is.
They have some all-wheel drive vehicles.
6L, 6L, I don't know.
I'm the guy with the Pinto wagon?
Guy with the Pinto.
Suddenly the light will come on at some point.
Oh, you're doing videos with a Pinto wagon, right? Oh, man. Why am I?
Bam. So.
Oh, okay. I know who you are.
See, there you go.
Okay, as soon as you said member of the No Name 500. Okay. Now I know who you are.
Yeah, we have a live. We're here every Tuesday night in our studio. We've got the big old green screen. If you want to send us pictures of your project, that you can do that any night. You can send us pictures of your project or your progress. You're also welcome to plug your channel if you have some new content that you want to kind of get out there to the people who are hanging out with us. You're more than welcome. We're not uppity about people like self-promoting a little bit. I mean, be polite about it, but if there's a moderator in here, they'll even put up a link to your channel. So, but tonight we are specifically speaking about cars from 1987. Every week we pick a year and we talk about cars from that year. It's just a fun way to kind of keep the conversation rolling and gives us lots of things to put up pictures about. And you can send them into his email
Can you put that down?
if
Because
you have
there's
a picture.
who was it here early? I mean, really early, and he never showed up.
Oh, with the Gene Winfield pictures?
No, no, wait. I haven't gotten to that yet. Let's see.
Okay, but so you
But no,
can send stuff in.
he tried to send pictures, and they kept
They broke. And
they
now they
weren't
got here?
okay. He was trying to send his pictures,
Right,
but they bounced from my email.
right.
But I was getting emails from everybody else, so I don't know what happened, and that's why I asked you to put it up earlier. But I haven't seen him, so I don't know. So maybe you can put the email there.
I was just about to, and you
Okay.
interrupted.
Okay, well,
Junkyard D, yes, 1987 tonight. And then if anybody still wants to put it, or if next week, this is your notice that the email address is the same as the name of the channel, which is Buff Del Campo, Campo at gmail.com. There it is right there if you want to have a clickable link. And you can email us pictures. They don't have to be pictures of your stuff. It could be pictures of something that you like that's from 1987. But pictures that are familiar, it's fun to talk about.
Junkyard D says, "What did I miss so far?" Well, we're 2 hours
You
and
missed a
40.
lot.
We're 2 hours and 40 minutes
Talking
into
about
it, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we've been going
So-
pretty steady here.
We were talking about his Corvette. And with the flip up headlights. So I wanted to mention my Nissan 300ZX. It is a 1987 and it is out here in the yard. It's actually on the trailer. And I have a motor for it, hopefully. It's red.
There's the color of yours right there next to my head.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah, it's the color of yours.
It is. I'm clicking on the wrong thing.
Yeah, hers
That looks a lot like it.
Hers looks like
And I got it
Pickups.
for next to nothing. The front end was all disassembled, but I have the standard front nose and a turbo front nose. They're different in some way, I don't know, but it's not a turbo car. It's a naturally aspirated car, but I have two motors, so I have enough parts to hopefully figure out what the heck is going on and make one that runs. And
And when that doesn't work, we're going to take the body and put it on a Ford truck frame and lower it right down to the ground and put a 460 Ford in it and do something that
or jack it way up in the air
do
like a
something.
monster truck Z. That would be cool too.
make a rat rod out of it.
But I mean, I got the car for nothing. The guy had it all taken apart. It was a complete basket case. And he was like, yeah, here it is. And then he was like, here's a bucket. All the rest of the parts in it. And this guy down the street has the motor for it, the other motor for it. So I've got two motors and a couple front ends and a bunch of extra set of rims. And
There's two things I want to cover. Vintage adventure drives. I wanted to mention that we're live on Tuesday nights, like Kim said, but also if we're working in the shop in the evening, a lot of times we'll just impromptu go live. And I'll kind of watch the chat and she'll kind of watch the chat and we'll work on whatever we're working on. So we do those lives too.
yeah, a
But
couple
here in
times
the-
a week usually.
Here in the studio, we show a lot of pictures and we can't
Yeah,
do
we
that
don't
up in
do
the
that
shop.
when we're up in the shop. We actually get work done, hopefully,
Now,
sometimes.
I was going to ask you to find
Yeah.
a 56 Ford, like a just
A
50,
56 Ford.
1956 Ford, two-door Victoria, something like that. And put that up on the screen. See this view, kind of that view. Let's see, like the blue one, the first, not that one. Let's go, can you scroll down a little bit? Like that pink one. That one. Okay, yeah, can you show that up on the screen?
No.
I want you to look at that 56 Ford there. That's pretty much a stock car, other than the fender skirts. But that's what the car looked like. And now we were talking about Gene Winfield. And this is what Gene Winfield did to a 56 Ford.
He reimagined it and made it look like
Look at that. I mean, the top looks like a 56 Ford, but he sectioned it and channeled it. And I mean, that's Gene Winfield's work. And I remember that car when I was a kid. And it's been It was called the Jade Idol, I think. And that was one of his creations in the 60s. Ah, Mexican Spec's taken off. Okay, good night. Thanks for stopping in.
Drive safe, Mexican Spec. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, Vintage Adventure. I subbed to him not too long ago. I remember that.
Oh, he's in the No Name 500.
Yeah.
I see. Well, guys, if you haven't checked out Vintage Adventure Drive's channel, go
Oh,
check him out. And if he earns your sub, click on the subscribe because he's trying to build his channel up and he wants to participate in the No Name Nationals this year, which is always a lot of fun. And it can be a really slow grind getting that first 500 Vintage Adventure. I hope that you are enjoying the journey.
Olive says, I'm sorry, got to duck out. A travesty is occurring in my county. County in your country. All right, whatever. Okay.
I'm sorry, Olive. It is stressful.
Okay. Whatever's going on in the country, I just sort of let it. I can't do anything about
Political stuff.
it. I can't do anything about it, so I stay with
Well,
my
not during
cars.
this live. We can't do anything
No, I
about
can't
it.
do anything about it. I just mess with cars. I
We-
mess with
we-
cars and my broken neck and my whatever else I'm doing. Because that I can do something about.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, what was the next thing I wanted to bring up? Something else besides that car. Oh, can you find Vintage Adventure Drives? And you can find him by going to John Wilburn's.
Oh, yeah.
Go to John Wilburn's, and then we can put up a link to his, and then make it easy for somebody to sub to find his.
See if he comes up.
I remember having trouble finding it. I found it by going to John Wilburn's channel, and then he's in the No Name 500.
How do you spell it? Vintage Adventurer
Just-
Drives.
Just go to John Wilburn's. Oh, there you found it. You did find it.
There,
Oh, and Kim just subscribed, so you just got one more subscriber. Okay, we're gonna get it up here, so maybe you get some more subs.
Yeah, good job with the networking. Thanks for stopping in.
There you go. If anybody wants to check out Vintage Adventure, there's the link. You can go in there.
We're all about seeing people be successful and finding their community. And so, yeah, we want to see you enjoy what you're doing. Vintage Adventurer says the only story I have with a car from 1987 is when I outran a hot 87 C10 with my Field Find 71 Satellite with a slipping second gear. That sounds like a fun adventure.
A Field Find 71 Satellite. That sounds like the kind of car we'd have.
Field Find.
except we have Field Find cars, but nothing that good. We don't have any 71 Satellites.
No. Terry Mott says those paint jobs were unique too. Yeah, the man knew how to paint a car. I absolutely.
Oh, man. Yeah, and Gene Winfield, he was 97 years old, and he died earlier today. It's sad to see him go. And that guy was working on cars well into his 90s. And he's an amazing, amazing guy. Here's one Kim will like.
Really?
I think you'll like this.
Aha! Another car from 1980. This
She's got one of those.
I have. This looks a little nicer than
This
the one
looks
I've got.
nicer than yours, but you have one.
But yeah, I have. I think mine's an 85 model to be precise, but it's essentially the same thing. Mine has the 2.8 liter engine, and an 87 would have the 2.9 liter engine, which are both Cologne engines, but not the same. The 2.9 is a fuel injected redesign that is based on the Cologne bell housing, but very different actually in some ways from the 2.8. But we're going to be swapping a 2.9 into mine because the engine block of the 2.8 is cracked and leaks horribly even after I changed out the head gaskets. So that's coming up someday on my channel. And mine has, my Bronco 2 has 4 low. It has like a sure grip positive traction rear end with 411 gears front and rear. So it is a pulling, crawling monster. So I cannot wait to have it running, and we're going to try and find some people to go adventuring with it someday. Hopefully. I didn't want a full-size Bronco. I wanted this little smaller version so that it will fit width-wise and weight-wise on the trailer, so that we can go with we're not.
So we can take it somewhere.
Yeah, because we're too damn old to be driving our trail rig on the streets.
This,
hers,
she got it running, and her van was stuck. We have this hill. You go down the hill just a little bit when it's raining, and you're not coming back up with a 2-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah, it's just a one-tire fryer.
Just slippery, muddy. You just can't get out of there. So her van was getting more and more buried, and the wheels were getting down in, making big ruts. So she backed this thing down on one like it and hooked onto it. She had me get in the van. I'm sitting there with the van running, put it in drive. And I think she thought I was going to step on the gas and kind of help her pull it out. Yeah. But I just put it in drive, and I'm sitting there. And she just pulled it out with the Bronco. I never stepped on the gas. It just pulled it right out and got it back up the hill.
That video was recently put up on my channel.
Oh, you did
Kim
put it
Fixes
up.
Things.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's like the most anticlimactic ending of, the wheels didn't even spin. It just pulled the van right out, it's such a shame. That motor runs so good, but it's trash. I have to replace it.
So 38 Racing says, Kim, your Bronco sounds like a heck of a yard horse.
It's gonna be, yeah.
That's what I said, workhorse. In Russian, Rabotoloshits. Does that sound funny?
Terry Mott says...
that means workhorse, yeah.
Terry Mott says his first new truck was an 87 Ranger with the 4-cylinder 5-speed. That's a good little utility truck. It put a lot of miles on. Those still fetch decent money down here.
You know, my son's first vehicle was a Ranger with a 4-cylinder and a 5-speed, and it could have been an 87. You know, Matt, it could have been.
My Bronco 2 is a 6-cylinder Cologne engine, which is a little more power. But for just for a little 2-wheel drive truck, the 4-cylinder that they picked for that Ranger, pretty okay. I think it's a 2.3 Lima engine. I think is what they call it.
2.3 Lima engine.
In the Rangers, yeah, an 87.
Oh, I know what that is. Built in Ohio. It's, everywhere in the world, Lima is Lima, except Ohio.
It's Lima.
Or it's Lima. Yeah. Lima, Ohio. Well, I moved to Ohio, and I called it Lima, and everybody looked at me like I was an idiot.
Did anybody watch that video on my channel? No one watched.
Anybody watch her channel?
No one watched!
Would you get 0 views?
Why I'm making videos. No one
0 views.
They're like, Kim, it's just a beatable piece of junk Bronco. I'm like, but it's my beatable piece of junk Bronco.
What was the one? Some truck, some beat up thing you had out there, and you wanted me to get in, and I looked in there, I get in that thing, my clothes will stink after I get out, and you said it's not that bad, and I got in.
Oh, that was the Dakota.
Anyway, it wasn't that bad.
That truck has 260,000 miles on it, and it now runs really good with a carburetor instead of fuel injected.
Well, I like that. I'm glad you bought that, because
I don't know.
That's the one you took is that the one you took the bed off of?
No, I took the bed off the Ranger. We've got an 87
the
Ranger.
Yeah, because the Ranger's the one I'm glad you got, because the Ranger, the Ranger's the one that the bed was full of. There were probably 10,000 Mellow Yellow cans in the back of that Ranger, and then we got it home, and every can had a beehive in it. So it was what a horrible thing. So she was putting all these cans and bees and everything, and we took them all but a couple of them to the recycle place. But I decided to call my little yellow Valiant. After that, I decided to call it Mellow Yellow. So I'm going to take one of those Mellow Yellow cans and flatten it out and make a license plate that says Mellow Yellow for my Valiant.
Lester LeSabre says he saw the Bronco. That's right. I think Lester left a comment. I can depend on
Vintage
you,
Adventure
Lester
says the
LeSabre.
2.3 Lima was introduced in 74 to replace the German-made 2.0. Oh, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Here we go. I'm going to talk, and here come the ads. I'll wait a second. I'm going to try to keep my train of thought.
38 Racing says Lima as in the bean.
Mm-hmm. So, I was talking about this earlier when we were discussing Pintos, is that the original one had a 2.0, well, actually had a 1.6 pushrod engine and a 2.0, and then they went to the 2.3. I didn't know what year it was. It was 74, okay. Because I had a bunch of them with 2.3s, and I every one of mine, I ended up putting the clone engine in it, which was a 2.8 for the Pinto. My neighbor has a Hudson Hornet. He is restoring it. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Welcome back, Raw Dog.
I had neighbors when I was a kid that had a 40 Hudson. I hated that thing because it was wet inside and it didn't smell good, and they had blankets over the seat. Just a filthy old car. And once in a while, a woman would go up to school if it was raining, and she'd bring all the kids from the neighborhood back. And I ride in that 40 Hudson, and it was just. Now I look back on that car and I go, man, why did I dislike that thing? Because now I look at it, all I see is potential, for something really cool. This is vintage. Says my dad would kill to have a Hudson Hornet. He even named his dirt bike Hudson Hornet. Really, Blue Grit, watch yourself with that Bronco too. They are known to roll over. In fact, my sister served jury duty locally for a rollover incident, and I was telling Kim that I don't like that thing. It's really narrow. It looks like you could roll it.
You have to be aware of the fact that it is not a sports car, and yeah, it's short and a little bit narrow. The one I've got like wider offset rims, which helps a tiny bit, but you have to be aware that it's not agile in the way a sports car is, and you can roll it if you're not careful. And a lot of people just drove it like it was a sports car and then rolled them over. So 38 Racing says the Al Gore rhythm thinks I need sporting goods. I'm going to take that as in a mention of his advertisements, and he gets 2 points.
Although it looks like Al Gore, but I think it's AI.
No, it's Al Gore.
Yeah, but I think it's a play on words.
That's as political as we get. Al Gore. And then Junkyard D says he got an Easy Cargo ad. He also gets 2 points. Thank you guys for enduring the advertisements. We appreciate you calling out the advertisers so people know who is supporting our stream. And essentially, paying, allowing us to kind of come together and enjoy ourselves this evening by paying for this, the stream and all that stuff. If there was no money in it, it wouldn't happen.
What's Easy Cargo?
I don't know. You want me to look it up?
Yeah, look it up. Let's see what it is.
I'll see if I can find it.
I mean, if they're supporting us, we're supporting us. I'm going to look at it and see what it is. Some of the stuff I know what it is. Some of it I don't know what it is. Product says it's a big car. Yeah, it's a big car. Hudsons were big, except for the Hudson Jet, which was considered a small car at the time, and even by today's standards, it's even big. Vintage says, Lester Sabre, my 73 Pinto wagon still has the 2.0 4-speed. Yeah, I felt like I went for a ride in that thing, Vintage. I watched that video, and it was pretty cool. I was like, man, I miss my Pinto wagons. My Pinto wagons, one of them I didn't convert, but all the others I converted to the side panels in the back, the vans, and I really like those things. My last one was the best one.
Container loading software. Is that what?
Easy Cargo ad. I don't know. Easy Cargo. Oh, pants, Easy Cargo.
The number one thing that comes up is load efficient cargo container loading software.
I
Maybe
don't
it's like
know.
organization software?
I don't know.
It's probably not. It's probably the pants.
Twisted Mopar Garage, says Kim Buff. What's that for? And 38. Twisted Mopar. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I see.
He
Twisted
just
Mopar
got here.
just got here.
Welcome
Now
to the stream,
now I
Twisted Mopar
get it.
Garage.
Sorry about that.
Late 70, early 1987, actually.
Well, but Bud Carfano's asking, what year did it change from Bronco 2 to Explorer?
Early 90s.
And that's where Twisted Mopar says
Yeah.
late 70, early 80, question mark.
It was like 90, somewhere between 90 and 92, they did the changeover. And I think there was some overlap. I could be wrong there. But yeah, after 92, you don't see any more Bronco 2s. And then they didn't bring the Bronco 2 back until just a few years ago.
Junkyard D says, I don't know. It skips some app to pack cargo on a rig. That is what it is.
Interesting. There you go. Junkyard D must be doing commercial.
Oh, and Twisted says
Stuff.
91 was actually year.
Aha, see, I was right. I mean, I had the range correct.
Raw Dog, and my uncle has a 55 Chevy. Man, yeah, that's become an old classic car, that's for sure.
When they switched over to the Explorer, I guess in 91 or maybe 92, they went from the 2.9 fuel injected engine to the 4.0 liter engine. So that's a pretty substantial, that's like 25% more size. We got disconnected.
Oh, well, we're back. Okay, it looks
Reconnection successful.
It looks like we got disconnected and reconnected. I don't know if everybody's still here.
They'll come back.
Hopefully.
Yeah, everybody's still here. We're good.
So some kind of glitch there. I don't know what the glitch was, but we got it.
Our software is pretty good at reconnecting.
Man,
they may not have noticed an interruption.
That reconnected fast.
Yeah. We need gas challengers. Oh, give it a couple years, somebody will rip all that electric garbage out and build a gas challenger on the new platform. Have you seen the 55 Nomad Riddler Award winner? No, but I'll search it up.
She's going to find it right now. Lester LeSabre says, never saw a glitch. Well, we sure did here. It popped right up, like disconnected, and then I looked down there and it was reconnected that quickly.
If there's an interruption, the software that we're using, the Open Broadcast Studio, it records what we say, and then as soon as it can, it resends it.
38 Racing just saw a slight blip in the stream. That's about what we saw. We saw a warning come up, and when I looked below the warning to see what the kilobits per second going out, and it came right up, and I thought, oh, well, we're still there. But obviously, we were gone for a minute or for a second. Well, the gray matter.
Oh, there it is. Lots of pictures.
That's quite a car.
Oh, this just happened 2 days ago.
The Riddler Award. Who did that?
Well,
look at those headlights. Some kind of crazy headlights.
It looks like there's a Hemmings and
but Hemmings did the article. I'm just wondering who did
the Detroit Autorama Riddler Award.
But who built the car?
I'm working on it. I haven't figured it out.
Oh, yeah, I just meant not who.
We probably have to read the article.
Junkyard D says it was an odd ad, but I have been looking for storage unit and researching building garage. So yeah, they're watching me. So that's why you got that. They sent you software ad.
Oh, they're always watching you. Everything you search, if they think it's could potentially apply to something that an advertiser is willing to pay to show you, they're going to push it your way.
Patrick Sullivan, we had a local outage here. Wind was wicked strong. Calmed down overnight. I had to go to the doctor today. And they just finishing with me. I'm walking out of the room, about ready to leave. Well, I guess I hadn't walked out of the room yet. Doctor's finished with me, went over to his laptop, and all the lights went out. And I said, why'd you turn the lights off? He goes, I didn't turn the lights off. The power went off. Okay. So we had to walk through the building. He kind of showed me out, dark building, and went outside, and that area of town was out. Look at those taillights. That's not a 55 taillight. Somebody did that. That's pretty good.
It says 10-year. Terry Mott says it's a no-name garage in North Carolina, and it's a 10-year build. Wow. Boy, must
Rod
feel
Dog
good.
says the mic keeps cutting out. Everything else is fine. The mic keeps cutting out. Really?
Hold on, don't talk for a second. Maybe we're talking too loud tonight.
Are we too loud, or are we because I can get it up in the red, but don't go down too far. Okay. Ooh. There, I got to do that to make it go up in the red. So, are we still okay? Is our audio okay? We kind of try to make this all work well, and sometimes it doesn't work perfectly.
Generally, we've had really good success, considering the lack of experience and lack of expensive high-tech equipment that we have. I mean, the most expensive thing we have are the screens. We have some big TV screens, but you can buy a big TV these days for a couple $100, and we got these used, so we don't have too much. Considering that, like, we get really.
Who is this?
Not peaking for the
this
time
is
now.
Vintage.
Audio's good, great.
Vintage sent this. I'll get it downloaded, and then we'll. I just figured you might enjoy this old picture of my Impala from high school days. Okay.
Absolutely, we love to see it.
Now we're gonna do this. Oh, it's a 72.
Okay. Let me bring it up.
You gotta bring it up.
Boom. And this is who, from Vintage?
Vintage, yeah. 72 Impala. That's pretty good.
Woohoo! That looks like fun.
There he is. He comes up. I sent you a picture. Got it on screen. Man, I had a friend of mine. His little sister I met her. She was like 13 or 14 or something. We were young. And she turned 16 and she got her driver's license, and her father had one of these cars. Just like that, except it was kind of a light blue color. She comes running to my shop one day and she's crying, and she goes, I just smashed the front of my dad's car. Can you go? I need you to fix it, So I go out to look at it, and the front was just smashed back. The radiator's wrapped around the fan. I mean, it is a big smasher, I'm thinking, I can't fix it. It's not like a 5-minute fix, so you can go home and show it to your dad, And she's crying. I don't know what to do. I said, what happened? She goes, I was going over a speed bump. I was going up to a speed bump, and the car in front of me started to go over the speed bump, and it rolled back off the speed bump and ran into me. I'm looking at it, and I go,
you're going to need to work on that story.
That's not a good story. I said, what really happened? She goes, no, that's what happened. Well, many years later, I meet up with her somewhere. She's married. She's got kids. I looked at her. I said, hey, remember that day? She goes, your dad's 72 Chevy. I said, what really happened? She goes, I ran a red light and hit a car. I said, now that story I believe. I said, so
what you... princess, now the truth comes out.
So what did you tell your father? And she goes, oh, I had to tell him. Yeah. Oh, man.
That's funny, though. She tried to tell you. It was like, oh, it's just really...
Yeah, a car rolled off a speed bump and bumped into me. Yeah. Oh, man, it was a mess. But he got it fixed. And years later, he came into
my shopping cart rolled into it in the parking lot.
Years later, he came into my second radiator shop, and it was overheating, and I forget what was wrong with it, but it had a couple 100,000 miles on it by then. And it had something in the engine was putting exhaust into the radiator. And I just went and I got him a used 350 Chevy in a junkyard and dropped it in there, and he drove it again for years with that used 350 in it. When we were in California, he drove back and forth to New York a few times, and But man, I said, really? You drove it to New York a couple of times? He goes, why? What's wrong with it? I said, no, it's just when you buy a used engine, you
You
know,
never know.
there's some risk. You never really know. I picked out one I thought would be okay, and it's okay, and I'm glad it is, you know. But he was happy with it.
Vintage says that car did donuts by the building at the end of the street that night. It's good times. 38 Racing says that thing must have a 300 because there's no 400 badges.
A 350.
Yeah.
You said a 300. A
That was
350.
wrong.
A 350. Chevy, yeah, most of them, I think like all of them did, or I guess there were a lot of them that didn't, but it was a pretty common engine. It's a California car, so the biggest you have was a 350. I had a 406 in it from 2018 to 2023, then put the 350 back. Yeah, Vintage, it sounds like you. See, I saw his first video I saw a Pinto, and I thought, oh, I want to see that. So I watched it because I had all those Pinto wagons. There I am looking at him, and I could see the back of the car, and I'm like, man, I'm in a Pinto wagon again, driving along. And then he said he uses it for his, that's his shop truck. You know, he goes out and uses it to pick stuff up and everything. It's pretty good. My uncle also, on my dad's side, this raw dog, my uncle also on my dad's side, his son has a beautiful blacked out 64 Falcon. We know somebody with a 64 Falcon.
Is it Dr. Art?
Dr. Art, yeah, he's got that white 64 Falcon in his garage, and I think he got it running now. I think it's driving. I think he finished the paint on it, and it's white, and it's running.
I think he said he's going to sell it.
He's going to sell it.
He's done with it. He likes building stuff, and then he doesn't want to keep it forever.
And he'll probably want a lot for that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, man, would I like to have a 64 Falcon? Then it's like,
He said he wants to sell his truck, too. He has that truck that does burnouts. And
which truck? The one that he and Tony were going to work on, and then he ended up buying it?
Oh, yeah. That one's for sale for sure. I think he already sold that truck.
Really? The Dodge?
Big Richard? Yeah.
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 I like that truck. Man,
he said it's out of there this weekend.
He did a really good job.
He made a deal with somebody, and it's supposed to be on its way out.
He did a good job.
And then his other truck. He wants new projects to work on. He's done everything he wants to do with those. It's hard to do. You put a bunch of time and love and energy into a vehicle, and then when it's done, like, we're builders, we want something. We want new toys. You know, the fun part's the building. It's like more and more so. Like, I don't hardly drive.
Vintage says, the Pinto just hauled the rear for my Scamp to the guy who's narrowing it. It's hauled many engines and a few transmissions.
Cool.
You know, my Pinto wagons, they were about 3, 4, 5 years old, that kind of age. And they were usually in pretty good shape. But I made them into little vans. And I had a radiator shop, and those things were my delivery cars. Because you could put radiators in the back of them and gas tanks and things. Although I had a roof rack on the last one, I put the gas tanks up on the roof rack because I didn't want the inside smelling like gas. So I always had one of those for a delivery vehicle. And then the last one I liked it so much. It was the little van. The nose was set a little bit low on it. It had 10-inch wide slotted mags on it. And it was black. And the mags were anodized gold. And I thought it just looked so cool. But I don't know if anybody likes anodized gold wheels anymore. But man, I had a friend he did a lot of airbrush work, and he saw that black Pinto wagon with the nose down on it. It was a beautiful car. And he said if he had that, he'd airbrush on the tailgate, baby's last ride. I go, no, don't even think about that, because he said it looked like a little hearse. But I never thought it looked like a hearse. It just looked like it was just a cool little wagon, you know.
38 Racing says, unfortunately, most of that vintage of Chevys, this one here, ended up being demo cars. I don't think most, but a lot of the ones, because that's a lot of steel wrapped around you, and four-door cars don't really fetch a bunch of money, and when you're done demo derbying it, you yank out the powertrain and sell it for what you bought the car for, and yeah, it's a perfect demo derby platform, I would think.
Well, that one, I always knew the year because the grill set really low.
Yeah.
And I knew that was 72. And, girl I knew, she really smashed that car.
And Kim says, that's how one ends up with a yard full of cars I get attached. Yeah, working on them, you don't really want to see it go. And, when you put...
Kim's attached to a lot of cars.
When I put hundreds of hours in a car and I know I'll never get it back out money-wise, it's like, well, why sell it? It's just sit there. It could just sit there. you know? But then what do I do with it? I can only drive one at a time, and I don't even go anywhere anymore. We need to go more places.
I told you I want to go to Yuma and I want to go to Las Vegas.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a long ways, isn't it? I don't know how we'd find time for that.
Oh,
We'd have to be
we
doing
just don't.
videos. We'd have to be doing videos the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. We'd
So
have to do a live while we were out there.
probably do a couple of them.
Do we have a
The
place to stay out there, or will we have to get a hotel?
In Yuma, I probably got a place to stay. In Las Vegas, we probably have to get a hotel.
Okay.
Las Vegas, we might not stay there long. We might just go out with some friends and see the place. I don't know. Because I'm not much of a gambler or Las Vegas show kind of thing. But there's a lot of, I mean, there's just so many good restaurants. That's why I was asking you if you like German food, because there's a German restaurant I want to go to that I've been to once before in Vegas, and I wanted to take you there. Same with station wagons were also real good long haulers. The derbies, yeah. When I was a kid, and the demo derbies, a lot of people ran station wagons because they could go backwards into things. And when I was a little kid, I thought that was so cool. And now I look at demolition derbies, I go, no, don't wreck that. I don't want to see anything get wrecked. What does that mean? Now the Survivor Impalas are donks. What does that mean? I'm old. I don't know that word.
Oh, they put those big wheels on them. Those
Oh.
big spinner
Oh,
wheels.
I know
And
what you mean. Some big hoopty like that.
drop them low to the ground and
I know
call
what
that a
you mean.
donk.
Yeah, they got like 30-inch wheels with little rubber band tires on. .38 Racing. Right, I entered my share of clam. I think it means clam back wagons. Is that the camback? Uh, Vintage. I passed on my car just a few weeks ago. Oh, what do we? Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that green one. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I I think that's hideous. But
How do you
like
see stuff like that? I mean, it
but
depends on
like
where you
this
are.
with the chrome the
Yeah,
gold.
I've seen a few of those around Clarksville like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the big Lincoln run around Clarksville like that. I don't like that style at all with the nose up in the air. Some of that's pretty silly.
Oh, it's
You,
all very
that can't handle good.
no. It can be done well, but it's been done badly a lot more than it's
See,
been
like
done well.
that might actually work okay.
What's that? This one here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not that. uh,
It's a stance car, I guess. I don't know.
Vintage. I passed on. Okay, there. Balin Wires Old Iron. Hello, Buff and Kim. Hello, how you doing? Good evening. Welcome to the stream. Tim, I'm real late. It's almost bedtime. Yeah, man. Oh, what are you? Why are you looking at this stuff? That's crazy. Look at that thing right above my head. Look at the wheels. Where do you get those? Bring these wheels in. I want some tires mounted on these. Oh my God. What the hell?
Silliness. Okay, sorry.
Okay, let's get away from this.
sorry. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Sometimes you have to see the bad to appreciate the good. Balance. We bring balance.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my email.
How did we do? Is there still a lot of
Well,
people?
yeah, there's Buddy Carpano sent some more that I don't know. I guess I could put them up. They're links, but I can put them up. There's a 87. I mean, I like that picture right there because it's one of it's.
Did you say hello to Balin Wires Old Iron?
I did.
Okay. Welcome to stream. I'm sorry. I was busy looking at donks. I got confused. Distracted.
So Buddy Carfano sent that full size Bronco that does not have the top on it. Wow, look at that. My Corvette's, oh, I see. He pulled this up when my Corvette was on there. Um, and then this one, here's a Blazer. Same thing, but
38 Racing got a advertisement for the Daytona Turkey Run. Get 2 points for calling out your
oh,
advertisement.
I know.
38 Racing gets all the ads. You must have done something, 38 Racing. They advertise everything to you.
I know what he's talking about. Out 38, I says the 70s wagon had a window that went up and tailgate. Okay, yeah, that's a clamback. I know what you're talking about. The camback was like the big. I didn't understand that when I read it. Yeah, I remember those things. I always called them the clamshell tailgates, and nobody now knows even what I'm talking about. But clamback, yeah, I can understand that. Same thing. Man, those things. I can't believe those are like 50 years ago. Seems like those are pretty new. Yeah, there's another one. Buddy Carfano sent in the '87 S10 Blazer. Back. The Broncos you could take the roof off of. Yep. Same with the Blazers. Take the back half of the roof off. Uh, Vintage says I got an ad for a wood chipper. You gotta pay attention to these people.
Okay, you get 2 points for telling us about your wood chipper ad.
Okay, and Vintage,
We need a wood chipper.
You gotta keep track of your own points. Oh, you know the woman we got all that wood from up the street on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Remember those stumps that were there?
Yeah.
Those are big piles of dust now.
Yeah, they brought in a stump grinder.
So what happens to all that dust? Is that good for anything?
Mulch.
I wonder if she wants us to pick that up. Can we use that for anything? Or is that like way too much?
It's good for making paths. Like it keeps the grass from growing up, and we can make a path.
So I guess my question is, should we go talk to her? Go up there with your skid steer and pick it up? I don't know.
I don't know. I got enough to do.
Okay.
You could ask, see what she has planned, and we could look at it.
Oh, yeah. 38 Racing says, yeah, the Blazer, the whole roof came off. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And the Bronco, the back half of the roof came off.
What are we doing?
How about the Ram Charger? Ram Charger, the whole roof came off? I think it did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Valence is good for mulch. That'd be a lot of mulch. There's two. You remember how big those stumps were? They're enormous. There are two huge piles. Did you see it?
No.
Okay, well, when you drive up the street that way, you'll see them. Two huge piles of that, ground up stumps. Dog, your phone is literally listening to you talking. Yeah, I know. Isn't that terrible?
And somewhere in your terms of service, you've agreed to that.
Listens to you everywhere.
They're allowed to listen to you for their affiliated advertisers. Yep. In that long multi-page document that you just clicked yes to so you can make your phone work, you agreed to that. And anytime you upgrade the terms of service, they extend it because they know you're not going to shut your phone off.
What was it Congress passed? And it was signed into law. I'm not going to get into the whole politics of it, but I'll go and get into it because it was signed into law. We're going to have to deal with it. The infrastructure bill. One of the things in that bill was cars from 2026 year model on will have to have microphones in there that listen to everything you say and transmit them off to some place that the government listens to you or records all your voices. And I was really upset about that. And I was talking to my son, who's in his 40s, and his kids who are like 20-ish, and they were like, so? And I'm like, what the hell? That's a real invasion of privacy. You have a microphone in your car that records everything you say in your car. And we're sitting there, and he says, he looks at his daughter, and he goes, and he looks at me, and he picks up his phone, and he goes, there's four of us sitting here with phones. And everything we say is already recorded and going off to someplace forever, recorded forever. So does it matter if they put it in the car? I'm just thinking my
And they
son
track
is
everywhere
40.
you go.
My son is 40. My grandkids that are like late teens, they just accept this. That's okay.
And
And
every
in,
transaction you make that
and
isn't
my
cash.
my age group is like, that's a total invasion of privacy. But I guess he's right. We've had it for a long time anyway. I don't know. I'm just amazed that we've come this far. Junkyard D, you might be too young to know the reference if you haven't seen the movie. I might be too young. Uh, yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of movies
Junkyard
either.
D, you get 2 points for your local ad from your cousin's foam insulation business.
Terry Mott, if you cuss a lot, they present soap ads. I remember my mother and the women around the neighborhood when I was a kid, kids were all about our age, like 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. You said a bad word, you're going to get your mouth washed out with soap. Yeah, I was so afraid of that. And I remember my mother washing my brother's mouth out with a bar of soap. And I was just terrified of that happening to me. So I didn't want to say any bad words. And I don't remember. I know what he said. He just tried to say something that he'd heard. And I think what he said was, he used the word turd, which by today's standards is pretty mild. And man, that was a no-go when I was young. He got his mouth washed out with soap. Ooh. So Terry Mott says if you cuss a lot, they present soap ads.
Junkyard
Is that what
D
that's
said
for?
someone in Fargo ended up in the wood chipper. Yeah, I've seen movies like that.
Oh, jeez.
Stories like that. Fargo was a movie, but I've heard stories that actually has happened. Be very careful if you have a wood chipper. Make sure you leave the safety device. There's a handle that cuts it off if you get stuck in there. Your sleeve gets caught.
Dean Stevenson, kiwi flavored soap. No, I think this was just soap flavored soap. Who here? Did anybody ever have your parents tell you they're going to wash your mouth out with soap if you use bad language?
I had it done.
Oh, really? Oh, geez. See, now my father, I never heard my father say anything bad other than one time or maybe 2 times. He was really angry. He said,
my mom made me stick the bar of soap in my mouth and I had to wait.
My father, once or twice, I heard him say, damn. And that was like, if he said that we were stunned by that.
Now people are dropping F-bombs in regular YouTube videos.
Now my mother could roll off a pretty good sentence of anger, and my father would just stare at her, and then she wouldn't say anything like that again. So he was pretty straight-laced. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, yeah. Let's not have any of those. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
I taught my children that there's certain language that you don't use in polite company. So I don't care if you say a swear word at home. I don't care. You don't need to, though, but I don't care. But when you're at school, you don't do that. When you're around adults that you don't know, you don't do that. It makes us look bad. It makes you look bad. So if you know a word is one of those words, don't use it in those situations. And my children had really good. I never had a problem.
It's a pretty good conversation. 38 Racing. I've had my mouth washed out with soap once, and that was in elementary school. Dean Stevenson, yes, done to me, and then passed on the retribution to my son. Now he decides on my rest home. Uh-oh. Balin, yes, I had to bite down on a bar of soap and still getting a spanking afterwards. Oh, this is good stuff.
No, it's silliness.
Oh, it's just silly.
Silliness.
It's just funny, yeah. Steve Edwards, that's Boat Anchor. Boat Anchor some nights, Steve Edwards other
Welcome
nights.
to the stream.
Hello.
Boat Anchor CB Radio, he streams when he's working on some base stations and stuff like the electronic stuff. So check out Boat Anchor's channel. Give him a like or thumbs up sometime. Just say stop in and say hello sometime when he's streaming, because it's easier to work when you're not all alone.
I asked my father after we were adults. I asked him. I said, you don't use any bad language. I've never heard you use bad language. I said, you were in the military in World War II and everything. Why didn't you pick any of that up? Why didn't you use it? He goes, he says the people that were the the officers and the people that were in charge, the people I had respect for that did a good job. He goes, they never used that language. And he goes, so I didn't want to ever use that kind of language. Okay. And he ended up being a professor at a university and teaching, by the way, a very blue collar kind of stuff, printing management and technology, where they learned to use in the old days, printing presses and all that. But that's the answer he gave me. And I no, that was a pretty good answer. I've had a hard time with that. I don't think I've ever. Sometimes I'm kind of more like my mother. I'll get mad once in a while and say something pretty bad.
Raw Duck says I had it done many times, and I got left on a dirt road when I was 7 because I was acting up on a little car ride home. And I have not ran so fast in my life. I learned so fast. They came back, but still, yeah, parents these days would never do that.
Oh,
I don't know if my parents would have done that, but like I could see there was a point in time where parents would be like, "Look, we don't need you. Bye, bye. Good luck on your own if that's how you're gonna be." And it was like, okay, maybe I need to think about what I'm up to.
we were little kids, and our street was like there were two houses past us, and then just a field, just and then way down there some railroad tracks. So it was kind of on the edge of everything, edge of town. So we were little kids. I was probably 7, something like that. My brother was a year younger than me. He might have been 6. He might have been 7. I might have been 8. I don't know. But he got mad, and it was in the evening. It was already dark, and he says, "I'm going to run away from home. I'm not staying here anymore." And he packed up some stuff in a sack, like a pillowcase or something, and off he went down the street. My mother's all freaking out and telling my dad, "Go get him, go get him, go get him." My dad's going, "No, no, just let him go." He goes, "He'll come home." So my brother walked down the street a ways, and my dad's kind of peeking out through some curtains. My mother goes, "Where is he? Where is he?" He goes, "He's down there sitting on the curb." He's like just past the house next door. He's sitting on the curb. And she's like, "Where is he?" He's still sitting on the curb.
Sometimes you gotta
And then
cool off.
and then my dad gets away from the window. And she goes, "Where is he?" He goes, "He's running home." He runs back up, comes in the house, crying. "I don't want to run away." So I always remembered that. Oh, the things we did as kids. Then it says my dad always called curse words sense enhancers to be used by people to seem more intelligent. Sound like a Joe Dirt story. This is One-Eyed Cat. There's words that comes out of people's mouth that I don't like. I won't even say them on here, and they're not even bad words. Okay. Oh, I found a car I want to put up here. Buddy Carfano sent in one I think it's going to be good. It's an 87 car that I actually like. Oh, it is. One of my favorites that a lot of people don't like. Fieros.
That's right. That was
I don't
heyday
know.
for
I don't know
Pieros.
if I like the nose on that one so much, but I sure like the top and the back I like driving Fieros. They're just comfortable and fun, and they handle like they're on rails. Pretty nice. Pretty nice, fun cars. I forgot about those. That's an 87 car I really like. And then there were things that were made from Fieros. Can you look up? Oh, you're in Mexican Spec site.
I can go somewhere.
I was going to say, can you look up? Here I am, brain dead again. There was a car made from the Fiero called a Zimmer Quicksilver. Yeah, there are all kinds of kits but the Zimmer Quicksilver was not a kit. Yeah, those are kits. Yeah, some of those Lambo kits you couldn't even get in on your head. It's just all wrong. Oh, and there's the Fiero from GM. That one right above my head was a Mera, Mera. GM got sued over that because they didn't actually make them, but some company did it, and then they were selling them in Pontiac dealers. Can you imagine that? And Ferrari sued them. They had to stop. Anyway, if you could look up Zimmer Quicksilver. Vintage says, I saw an early Furo in my little town one time. It was the highlight of my day. Yeah, there. That thing right above my head, the red one. That was actually a factory made, some company made those things. Zimmer made them. And I always thought that was a pretty cool car, but it was on a Furo chassis. But you could fit in it, it wasn't kit car feeling kind of car.
That's so weird.
Hollis says that's the properly set up Furo, but too much Botox nose. Yeah, I don't really like the nose on that. You're right. I like the earlier nose better, but I like the rest of it. Dr. Go, did you see the Furo with the LS swap? I put one of my shorts. I did not see that, or maybe you were asking me that last week. Man, there's a company, I can't think of their name right now, that does, they sell a kit or they'll do it, and they put small block Chevys, and my bet they do LSs now, and they put them in Fieros, and it's a pretty nice kit. I can't think of the name of that. I bet you could find put on there V8 Fiero. I bet it'll come right up. I think more Fieros burned than Pintos. You're probably right, but it's like a lot of mid-engine cars. You got to keep the fuel lines in good shape. Speaking of Botox, those Zimmers look like a preacher's wife, whatever they were supposed to be. Yeah, I kind of like those Zimmers.
Are you looking for a recent video?
No, I'm looking for a name of the company that does that. Oh, small block Chevys is mostly what they did.
Can't wait.
Okay, let me see what that says. Oh, I don't know. You're likely to find it. Yeah,
Pennock.
It's right above that. It says V8 kit. Oh, Archie. There it is. That's it. Archie kits. Yeah, that's the Archie kits. Yeah. Well, that's a pretty fancy one. Oh, and there's one with an LS. So Archie, I guess, is doing the LSs now. There's one of the small block. Yeah, it's like the Corvette engine. That's amazing, isn't it?
No frame cutting required.
And they do the kit. You can either buy the kit or they do it, and pretty nice. I mean, can you imagine a Fiero with a Chevy V8 in it, even a small one, if you had like a 283 in it, the thing would just rip, Let's see here. Raw Dog, my dad's friend, has a, what was that? Has a 24-year-old Dodge Viper. Man, those things have been around that long. Yeah, so we're back to that. Yeah, I don't really like that nose a lot. I like the earlier nose, or the one with that's the V6. What did they call that thing? The GT, Fiero GT. I think everything on that car looks good except that nose looks kind of funny, but you could fix that. So what else is going on here? Next week, 1973 will be the year. Next week. We've been on here 3.5 hours, Kim. How you feeling?
I think probably that's enough.
Probably enough.
Yeah.
So Dr. Go stopped in. Terry Mott's here. I'm glad Vintage has showed up. Vintage, we're going to be here every Tuesday night, so you're welcome. Of course, you're all welcome here, but Vintage is first week here. So.
And if we can keep the shop warm, we'll be in the shop probably starting around 10 p.m. or maybe earlier.
Yeah, and this is, of course, we're on Central Time. We're in Tennessee. We're in Middle Tennessee. So the so we're on Central Time anyway. Central Time in the U.S. And vintage, yeah. Yeah, next week is showcase your Pinto. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
send Pinto pictures. Absolutely.
We
Yeah,
need the
we'll try
old
and get you some more subs too. We'll throw up your if you guys haven't checked out Vintage Adventurer Drives, they're trying to get to 500 subscribers for No Name Nationals this year. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. Give them a subscription if you you know.
Do you still have the that cut and paste you did of vintage?
Maybe,
It might still be there.
maybe
And we
it
can
is.
put it up one more time because there's a bunch of people here that were not here. There we go.
Yeah,
There,
here's a
if you,
link. Check
yeah,
out the
that's a
channel.
link. That's a link for Vintage Adventure Drives for his channel. And if you haven't subbed, maybe you will. He's in the No Name 500, trying to get up. Trying to
Help
get up
him
to
get there with the
500.
500. The first 500 is rough.
So he can be at so he can actually participate in the in No Name Nationals and not do what I did the first year, which is just go there and well, I helped Kim, so I did something, but I didn't have my 500. So anyway.
Tim, I understand the interest in watching the president address Congress. I am going to watch it in replay.
Yeah, we're doing
Probably
this.
for the next week.
We're doing this, and
So.
I don't know. Whatever goes on in politics, it goes on, and I can't really do much about it except once every 2 years, and then
The
I may
best
and
we
I
can
may
do
not.
most of the time is offer some distraction from
Yeah,
the stress of the daily news.
Dr. Go just subbed. Uh, yeah, there were some huge wheels on those Chevys, and he's never seen anything that big. Where'd you get tires? Yeah, that's what I said. The tires are about this
Rubber
tall.
bands.
Yeah, and the wheels are this big. Isn't that crazy? Remember, mainly I'm a Mopar guy, but I have plenty of potential Chevrolet and Ford stuff. Yeah, see, I was mainly a Ford guy just because my first car was '64 Ford. I had a bunch of '56 and '7 Fords, and then I had Fox bodies, but I had a lot of other stuff
Right
too.
now, we have a little bit of everything around here. We have Fords, we have Mopars,
I've
we
never,
have
I've never,
Nissan, we have.
I've never considered myself just as a Ford guy because I've had Chryslers, I've had all kinds of GM stuff. The only cars I haven't had were the top of the line cars. No Cadillacs, no Lincolns. I did have one Chrysler, but that was a PT Cruiser. Could hardly call that a luxury car. So the only reason the PT Cruiser was a Chrysler is because it was a Plymouth, and they ended Plymouth's production, and they had to stick some name on it, so they stuck the Chrysler name on it. But anyway, yeah, I'd
What
never
year
had.
did BMW make the Isetta?
Isetta, like 1960.
Yeah, that's a really early car.
Yeah, the Isetta. Isetta was when I was a little kid, like 1960, 61. I was in kindergarten, 1959, and yeah, 1959, 1960. I remember walking to school and there was somebody who had an Isetta, and I looked at that thing every day. I thought it was so cool because the door opened, and when the woman would open the door, the steering wheel came with the door, and I didn't understand what U joints were yet. So, I learned what U joints were because of the Isetta. And I could stare at him as she opened the door, and I was like, it was like some kind of magic. Here we go with ads.
More ads. We're trying to be done.
Donks are ridiculous.
They're redonkulous.
Redonkulous. There you go. I guess it all depends on your point of view. So.
Yeah, it is time to find some 1973 pictures. Thank you, buddy, for always sending in so many pictures.
Buddy, I'll put
Appreciate
yours
it.
up, but if there's too many, or if there's I don't want to say too many. There's
You
never
don't
too
have
many.
to overdo it.
But there's a lot. Like right now, there's a couple of them sitting there, and we're not going to get to them tonight. But we show a lot of yours. But if people send in pictures of their own cars, I'm going to put them up first. But the ones you send in, they're appreciated, and I do put a lot of them up. So
Vintage Adventurer says he got a Granger ad. Granger's a great place to get thousands of items.
they have
Lots of stuff.
one thing about Granger. I always say, whatever's in their catalog online, they have it in stock and you usually get it the next day. So yeah. So
but you get 2 points.
2 points for that.
Keep track of your points. It's an on your honor system. I don't keep track of points. You got to keep track of them, and someday those points will be worth something.
73 smog riddled. Yeah.
Just
it got
the very
worse.
beginning.
It got worse in 75.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're about ready to shut it down.
Oh, I'm whooped. That was a lot of work.
My throat's at it.
But I had
So
fun. I hope you guys all had a good time. Appreciate all the comments. Thanks to our moderators, um, and everyone who commented and hung out. If you are still here and you're hearing the sound of my voice in chat or just watching, you get an additional point for staying till the end, even if you got here late.
really, you're giving
Yeah,
away
I'm
a
giving
point
out a
to me.
point just for being here. We appreciate you. We're going to do it again next Tuesday, and we'll probably be in the shop 1 or 2 days this weekend trying to get his 78 Ford back ready to drive. And I think that's it.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it.
All right.
Good
Good night,
night,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks so much.